Have you ever felt it? A quiet hum of disconnection beneath the noise of your daily life. A sense that you are navigating a vast, chaotic ocean without a reliable compass. We are saturated with information, flooded with alerts and updates. Yet somehow, many of us feel more adrift than ever before. As if the magnetic north of our own inner guidance system has mysteriously vanished. This isn't a new feeling. It isn't a product of our modern age alone. Rather, it is an ancient echo. A timeless question whispered down through the centuries in sacred texts and forgotten philosophies. It is the deep, persistent yearning for a more profound connection. A hunger not for more data, but for true wisdom. For the kind of knowing that settles deep in your bones and assures you that you are part of something magnificent. Something far greater than the fleeting anxieties of your day. We search for this meaning outside of ourselves. In careers, in relationships, in accomplishments, hoping to find the missing piece. Yet the feeling often lingers, a ghost in the machine of our lives. But what if the answer was never truly out there? What if the most profound secret, the most powerful tool for navigating your reality, has been dormant within you all along, waiting patiently in the silent, geometric center of your own mind? We are speaking of a tiny, pinecone-shaped gland, a biological enigma known as the pineal gland. Ancient traditions revered it as the seat of the soul, the bridge between worlds, the physical location of the mystical third eye. Modern science acknowledges its role in producing the hormones that govern our cycles of sleep and wakefulness. But ancient wisdom suggests its function is infinitely more profound. It is a stargate, a biological gateway to higher states of consciousness. And the key to unlocking its potential may be the most important journey you will ever undertake. Through the stories and knowledge encapsulated in the great audiobooks of our time, we can begin to explore these hidden truths, conveniently weaving ancient wisdom about the law of attraction, self-development, and the subtle messages of the universe into the fabric of our busy lives, turning a simple daily commute into a pilgrimage of discovery at the precise geometric center of the human brain. Shielded by the intricate folds of the cortex and floating in a small, quiet cavern, lies a structure no larger than a single pea. To a modern anatomist, it is the pineal gland, a humble endocrine organ whose primary function appears to be the regulation of our sleep. But to the mystics, shamans, and philosophers of the ancient world, this tiny, pinecone-shaped jewel was nothing less than the biological throne of consciousness itself, a physical antenna for non-physical realities. Its story is not written in medical textbooks, but etched into the walls of Egyptian temples, woven into the fabric of Hindu cosmology, and whispered in the lost dialogues of Greek philosophers. To understand its power, we must first understand its history, a history that suggests humanity has long been aware of a profound secret nestled deep within our own skulls. Our journey begins in the sun-drenched land of ancient Egypt, under the watchful gaze of the gods. Here, one of the most powerful and ubiquitous symbols was the Eye of Horus, a stylized human eye representing protection, healing, and royal power. But its meaning runs far deeper. Occultists and esoteric scholars have pointed out a breathtaking anatomical correlation: the striking resemblance between the Eye of Horus and a sagittal view of the human brain. The design of the eye appears to be a literal, stylized map of the thalamus, the hypothalamus, and most importantly, the pineal and pituitary glands. The ancient Egyptians, masters of anatomy and sacred geometry, were not merely drawing a symbol of a god's eye. They were creating a diagram of enlightenment, a map of the inner machinery of perception. They understood that true sight, the sight of Horus, was not merely about observing the external world, but about activating this inner portal. This knowledge wasn't confined to the Nile. Travel across the Mediterranean to the worlds of Greece and Rome, the cradles of Western civilization. Here, the pine cone, the very shape for which the pineal gland is named, appears in the most curious and sacred of places. Look at the staff of Dionysus, the god of wine, ecstasy, and divine madness. It is often topped with a pine cone. The Roman god Bacchus, his equivalent, is also associated with this symbol. Why a pine cone? It was a symbol of fertility and regeneration. But not just in a worldly sense, it represented the flowering of a higher, spiritual life. The potent, seed-like potential for divine intoxication and connection to the universal creative force that lay dormant within the human mind. Perhaps the most blatant and most startling example of this hidden knowledge sits today in the heart of the Roman Catholic Church. Within the Vatican itself, in a prominent courtyard, known as the Court of the Pinecone, stands a colossal bronze pinecone statue, one of the largest in the world. It is a baffling, seemingly pagan symbol to hold in such a place of honor. This suggests that the highest echelons of organized religion, for centuries, retained this ancient knowledge, hiding it in plain sight, a testament to a power they understood. Even if it was not shared with the masses, the symbol is a key, a silent acknowledgement that the gateway to God, or the divine, is not found in a building or a book, but through the activation of this sacred internal structure. As we move eastward, this esoteric knowledge becomes far more explicit in the spiritual traditions of India. The concept of a third eye is not a metaphor. It is a central pillar of spiritual anatomy. It is the Ajna chakra, the sixth of the primary chakras, located precisely between the eyebrows. This is the center of intuition, insight, and the ability to perceive realities beyond the limited spectrum of our five senses. It is the eye of the soul, which, when opened, can see the truth behind the illusion of the material world, what they call Maya. The traditional bindi worn on the foreheads of many Hindus is a constant, devotional reminder of this sacred portal, a mark of reverence for the inner eye of wisdom. This was not just folk belief. It was a sophisticated spiritual science, mapped out over thousands of years through the direct empirical experience of countless yogis and mystics. They didn't need to dissect the brain. Their laboratory was their own consciousness. And through deep meditation, they explored and mapped these inner landscapes with a precision that modern science is only beginning to appreciate. This ancient, global consensus found a surprising champion much later in the West. In the mind of a man who would become the father of modern philosophy and a titan of rational thought, René Descartes. In the 17th century, amidst the dawn of the age of reason, Descartes surveyed the landscape of the brain and made a declaration that was both radical and profoundly ancient. He identified the pineal gland as the principal seat of the soul, the single point of contact where our immaterial mind, our consciousness, could interact with and direct our material body. For a man so dedicated to logic, who famously declared, "I think, therefore I am," this was no casual assertion. He saw the rest of the brain's structures as dual, with a left and a right side. But the pineal was unique, singular, and centrally located, making it the only suitable candidate for the unified command center of the human experience. It was the bridge between the world of thought and the world of things. For centuries, this was where the story ended for the rational world, with the pineal gland relegated to the realm of philosophical curiosity. But modern science, in its own methodical way, began to uncover truths that unwittingly echoed these ancient claims. We now know that the pineal gland synthesizes melatonin, the hormone that governs our circadian rhythms, our fundamental cycle of sleep and wakefulness. It does so by taking serotonin, the neurotransmitter associated with feelings of happiness and well-being, and converting it under the cover of darkness. The gland is a photodetector, exquisitely sensitive to light, which is why exposure to blue light from screens at night can disrupt our sleep so profoundly. On the surface, this seems like a simple biological clock, but look closer, and the metaphysics begin to shine through. Think of the alchemy of it, turning the molecule of waking happiness, serotonin, into the molecule of darkness, dreams, and restoration, melatonin. It is a nightly chemical ritual of retreat from the outer world into the inner. Furthermore, many researchers, like Dr. Rick Strassman, author of DMT, the spirit molecule, have put forth the compelling hypothesis that the pineal gland, under specific conditions such as birth, death, and profound meditative states, is also capable of producing n-dimethyltryptamine, or DMT, one of the most powerful psychedelic substances known to man. Those who have experienced DMT report being catapulted into other dimensions, communicating with intelligent entities, and experiencing the dissolution of space and time. Experiences that sound remarkably similar to the states described by ancient mystics and shamans. This theory suggests that the capacity for profound spiritual experience may not be a metaphor, but a biological birthright, hardwired into our brains via the pineal gland. This is where the wisdom of modern audiobooks, like The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, becomes a powerful lens. The Secret reintroduced the mainstream world to the law of attraction, the idea that our thoughts and feelings create our reality, that there are unseen universal laws at play that we can consciously engage with. The ancient reverence for the pineal gland can be seen as a more advanced, more specific understanding of this very principle. The ancients knew that to broadcast a clear signal to the universe, to manifest a new reality, you first had to tune the transmitter. That transmitter was the pineal gland, the eye of Horus, the Ajna chakra. Their knowledge wasn't a secret because it was intentionally conspiratorially hidden. It became a secret because we, as a civilization, became deaf to its language. We prioritized the external world over the internal. We trusted the five senses over our intuition. And slowly, the inner compass was forgotten. The symbols they left behind, the pine cone in the Vatican, the eye on the temple wall, are not mere decorations. They are scientific diagrams of an inner technology. They are a message across time, reminding us that the most incredible universe to explore is the one that exists behind our own eyes. The overwhelming consistency of this belief, spanning continents, cultures, and millennia, from Egyptian priests to Hindu yogis to French rationalists, simply cannot be a coincidence. It points to a profound, universal truth about human potential. This tiny, pea-sized gland is not just a regulator of sleep. It is a dormant stargate. This realization naturally begs the most important question of all. If this sacred gateway truly exists within each of us, why does it feel so closed, so silent? And what are the precise, practical steps we must take to clear away the debris of modern life, to awaken this sleeping giant, and to reclaim our birthright of higher consciousness? The ancient architects of our inner world, the priests of Egypt and the yogis of the Himalayas, lived in a reality that was energetically pristine. Their food was grown in living soil. Their water flowed from pure springs. And their skies were free from the chemical haze of industrial progress. Their pineal glands, Their third eyes were unobstructed, open windows to the cosmos. Our modern world, for all its technological marvels, presents a far more hostile environment for this delicate spiritual organ. The primary reason why the gateway to higher consciousness feels so firmly shut for so many is not due to a lack of belief or a failure of spirit, but due to a simple physical process, a biological sabotage known as calcification. Imagine a flawless, beautiful crystal, capable of receiving and transmitting the most subtle frequencies. Now imagine that crystal, over years and decades, becoming slowly encrusted with a layer of mineral sludge, a hard shell of deposits that muffles its resonance until it falls completely silent. This is precisely what is happening to the pineal gland of modern humanity. It is being systematically hardened, turned from living tissue into stone. And the first and most crucial step in reclaiming our spiritual sight is to consciously and deliberately reverse this process. To do this, we must first identify the primary culprit, a substance so pervasive in our environment that we rarely give it a second thought. Sodium fluoride. This is not the naturally occurring calcium fluoride found in trace amounts in nature. The compound added to the public water supplies of numerous countries, as well as to toothpastes and processed foods, is often an industrial byproduct, a waste product from the fertilizer or aluminum industries. Its introduction into our lives was framed as a miracle of public dental health. But a growing body of scientific evidence paints a much darker picture, especially concerning the pineal gland. The pineal gland is unique in the body. It is located outside of the blood-brain barrier, and it has one of the highest rates of blood flow in the body, second only to the kidneys. Because of this, it acts like a sponge, and it has a particular, almost magnetic affinity for fluoride. Studies have demonstrated that the pineal gland accumulates more fluoride than any other soft tissue in the entire human body. This fluoride then attracts calcium, creating phosphate crystals that form a hard, shell-like layer over the gland. This is not a speculative theory. It is a documented physiological fact. A calcified pineal gland is a sleepy, numbed pineal gland. It is an antenna encrusted with rust. A spiritual eye, blinded by a cataract. The consistent, low-dose administration of this substance acts as a kind of energetic anesthetic, subtly dimming our intuition, flattening our spiritual experiences, and tethering our consciousness more firmly to the mundane, material world. To begin the journey of awakening, we must first stop the poisoning. This means making a conscious choice to eliminate fluoride from our lives as much as possible. It means questioning what is in our water, reading the labels on our toothpaste, and understanding that this substance is the single greatest physical impediment to activating our divine potential. However, fluoride is not the only accomplice in this process. The entire modern diet, heavy with processed foods, refined sugars, pesticides, and chemical additives, creates a state of chronic, low-grade acidosis and inflammation in the body. This internal environment is the perfect breeding ground for calcification. In this context, the wisdom presented in audiobooks by health visionaries like David Wolfe, author of the Sun Food Diet Success System, becomes not just helpful, but essential. The core philosophy is breathtakingly simple, yet profoundly transformative. You are, quite literally, what you eat. Every meal is a choice. Every bite of food is a packet of information that you are giving to your cells. You can choose to build your physical temple with dead, processed, chemical-laden materials that create inflammation and disease. Or you can choose to build it with living, vibrant, sun-charged foods that carry the frequency of life itself. Decalcifying your pineal gland is therefore not a punishment or a chore. It is an act of reclaiming your sacred sovereignty. It is looking at a plate of food and asking, does this build my temple? Or does it tear it down? The path to decalcification begins on your plate. With the deliberate inclusion of foods and substances that can gently dissolve these harmful deposits and escort the toxins out of your body. Let us assemble our arsenal. First, we need substances that can chelate, or bind to, fluoride and remove it. Iodine is a powerful ally in this fight. For decades, we have been told to fear iodine, yet it is an essential mineral, and it has the unique ability to displace fluoride from the body's tissues. Incorporating iodine-rich foods like seaweeds, such as nori, dulse, and wakame, or supplementing with high-quality nascent iodine or Lugol solution, can begin this gentle detoxification process. Next, we turn to the plant kingdom for support. Raw cacao, the unprocessed source of chocolate, is a true superfood in this endeavor. It is one of the richest sources of antioxidants on the planet and is incredibly high in magnesium, a mineral crucial for hundreds of bodily processes, including detoxification. Cacao, revered by the Mayans and Aztecs as the food of the gods, acts as a powerful vasodilator, increasing blood flow to the brain and helping to nourish and stimulate the pineal gland. Think of it as a gentle, loving activator. Certain natural acids are also highly effective at dissolving calcium phosphate deposits. Malic acid, found in apple cider vinegar, and citric acid, found in lemons and limes, can help break down the calcified shell. A simple daily ritual of starting the day with a glass of pure water, with the juice of half a lemon and a splash of raw apple cider vinegar, can create a more alkaline internal environment and support this cleansing. Furthermore, the humble garlic clove is a powerhouse of detoxification. Its high sulfur content boosts the body's production of glutathione, its master antioxidant, and it has been shown to dissolve harmful calcium deposits. To accelerate this process, we can look to a few key supplements. Boron, a trots mineral, is a remarkable fluoride remover. It can be found in foods like raisins and dates. But for a more therapeutic effect, supplementing with boron or using food-grade borax in very small, carefully measured amounts can be highly effective. Another critical component is something the pioneering nutritional researcher Weston A. Price called Activator X. We now know this mysterious substance to be vitamin K2. Vitamin K2's primary role is to act as a traffic cop for calcium in the body. It ensures that calcium goes where it is needed, into our bones and teeth, and removes it from where it shouldn't be, such as our arteries and, crucially, our pineal gland. Sources of K2 include natto, a fermented soy product, as well as grass-fed butter, ghee, and certain aged cheeses. Lastly, supplements like MSM, a form of organic sulfur, can provide the raw materials your body needs to effectively detoxify and flush out the liberated toxins. Of course, all of these efforts will be severely undermined if you continue to hydrate your body with the very substance you are trying to eliminate. Investing in clean, pure water is non-negotiable. This means avoiding unfiltered tap water at all costs. A high-quality gravity filter, a reverse osmosis system, or sourcing authentic spring water are the best options. This provides a clean slate, ensuring you are not undoing your hard work with every glass you drink. This process of decalcification is the essential groundwork. It is the physical purification, the sweeping of the temple floors, and the scrubbing of the altar before any sacred ceremony can begin. It is a declaration to the universe that you are serious, that you are willing to do the work required to become a clear channel, It requires patience and consistency, as this buildup did not occur overnight, but with every conscious choice. With every glass of pure water and every life-affirming meal, you are chipping away at the stone, dissolving the shell, and allowing the light to once again touch this sacred crystal. This is the first vital step, but cleaning the instrument is not the same as playing it. Once the physical static has been cleared, once the channel is open, we can then begin the truly magical work of tuning the instrument, of using subtle energy, frequency, and vibration to make our third eye resonate with the symphony of the cosmos. Having meticulously cleared the physical temple of the contaminants that dull its sacred architecture, we can now begin the work of bringing it to life. The process of awakening the pineal gland moves from the physical to the energetic, from the material to the vibrational. To understand the next step, you must embrace a fundamental truth about the nature of our reality. A truth articulated perfectly by the visionary inventor Nikola Tesla when he said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Everything you perceive as solid, including your own body, is in a constant state of vibration. Health is a state of harmonic resonance, while disease is a state of dissonance. Therefore, if we wish to activate a specific part of our being, we can introduce a coherent, powerful frequency that invites that part to vibrate at its optimal, intended state. This is the science and the art of sound healing, a practice that uses frequency to tune the human instrument and awaken the dormant potentials within. Most notably, the crystalline structures of the pineal gland. To grasp how profoundly sound can organize reality, we need only look to the captivating field of cymatics. Imagine a simple metal plate, sprinkled with a layer of fine, chaotic sand. When a violin bow is drawn across the edge of the plate, or a specific frequency is played through a speaker beneath it, something magical occurs. The sound wave, invisible to the eye, ripples through the plate, and the seemingly lifeless sand leaps into action, arranging itself into breathtakingly intricate and perfect geometric patterns. These are the shapes of creation, mandalas of pure vibration, visual proof that sound is not a passive force, but an active organizational intelligence. Now, consider this. If a simple frequency can command inert sand to form sacred geometry, what commands can it issue to the 70% water that constitutes your body? What intricate dance can it inspire in the calcite microcrystals that reside within your pineal gland? Crystals which themselves possess piezoelectric properties, meaning they can convert mechanical energy into an electrical signal. You are a walking, breathing cymatic resonator. By consciously introducing specific frequencies into your field, you are instructing the very water and crystals of your being to vibrate in harmony with a higher, more coherent order. This knowledge is not new. It is ancient. One of the most powerful sets of frequencies known for this purpose is the ancient solfeggio scale. This six-tone scale was said to be used in the beautiful and haunting Gregorian chants of the early Catholic Church. It is believed that these specific combinations of notes, when sung in Latin, were capable of imparting profound spiritual blessings, healing, and a sense of deep connection to the divine. For centuries, this scale was thought to be lost, until it was rediscovered in the 1970s by Dr. Joseph Puliot, who found it encoded within the Book of Numbers in the Bible. Each of the 6 primary solfeggio frequencies corresponds to a specific spiritual and physical benefit, from repairing DNA to liberating guilt and fear. For our purpose, however, we look to the highest of these traditional notes, and a related frequency that has become known as the pinnacle of pineal activation, 936 Hz. This frequency is often referred to as the frequency of God. It is the sonic key said to unlock the highest energy center of the body. Its purpose is to pierce the veil of illusion, or Maya, the perception of separation from the universe. It is a vibrational homing beacon that calls to your higher self, stimulating the pineal gland directly and awakening it to its function as a portal to universal consciousness. Listening to this frequency is like tuning a divine radio, clearing away the static of the lower mind and allowing the clear signal of spirit to come through. We can imagine the profound effect this had on the monks chanting in their great stone cathedrals. Those structures were not just places of worship, they were masterfully designed acoustic resonators. As the monks' voices filled the space with the harmonizing tones of the solfeggio scale, the very stones of the cathedral would begin to vibrate in sympathy, amplifying the frequencies and immersing every person within the congregation in a powerful sound bath. This wasn't merely beautiful music. It was a form of advanced vibrational technology, designed to entrain the brainwaves of everyone present, lifting them collectively into a state of reverence, unity, and spiritual receptivity. You don't need to be in a medieval cathedral to experience this effect today. We have a modern, precise, and highly accessible form of this sonic engineering, known as binaural beats. The science is simple but ingenious. It involves playing two slightly different frequencies simultaneously, one into each ear, through a pair of stereo headphones. For example, your left ear might hear a tone at 200 Hz, while your right ear hears a tone at 210 Hz. Your brain, in its effort to resolve this difference, perceives a third, phantom beat pulsing at 10 Hz, which is the mathematical difference between the two tones. This 10 Hz frequency corresponds to the alpha brainwave state, the state of relaxed awareness. By varying the frequencies, we can gently guide or entrain our brains into specific, beneficial states of consciousness. We can be guided from our normal, busy beta state into the relaxed alpha state, and deeper still into the theta state. It is in the theta brainwave state, between 4 and 8 Hz, that the true magic happens. Theta is the realm of deep meditation, heightened intuition, and REM sleep. It is the twilight state where the veil between the conscious and subconscious mind becomes thin, allowing for profound insights, enhanced creativity, and spontaneous downloads of information. This theta state is directly correlated with heightened activity in the pineal gland, making binaural beats one of the most effective modern tools for stimulating your third eye. The best part is that this profound technology is available to you right now. You can begin this practice today. Go to any music or video platform and simply search for 936 Hz, solfeggio frequency, or theta wave binaural beats for pineal gland activation. Dedicate 15 to 30 minutes each day to this practice. Find a quiet, comfortable space where you will not be disturbed. It is crucial to use stereo headphones, especially for the binaural beats, as they rely on sending a different frequency to each ear. Lie down, close your eyes, and simply allow the sound to do the work. Do not try to force an experience. Do not strive for visions or fireworks. Your only job is to relax and receive. Let the frequencies wash over you, through you, permeating every cell of your being. Feel the subtle vibrations in your head, particularly in the center, behind your eyes. This is a gentle but powerful form of energetic massage for your pineal gland. For a more intense and immersive experience, you might also seek out a live sound bath. Here, practitioners use instruments like quartz crystal bowls, planetary gongs, and precisely calibrated tuning forks to create a rich tapestry of sound that you don't just hear with your ears, but feel with your entire body. a vibrational cleansing that can release energetic blockages and leave you in a state of profound peace and clarity. By engaging with sound healing, you are moving beyond the purely physical act of decalcification and beginning the subtle and beautiful process of activation. You have cleaned the hardware, and now you are running the software of awakening. You are using the universal language of frequency to remind a part of your own biology of its sacred and forgotten purpose. We have explored how to purify this sacred gland and how to attune it with the invisible waves of sound. But this remarkable organ, this master gland, is also exquisitely sensitive to another all-pervading universal energy. It is, by its very nature, a photoreceptor, a receiver not just of the vibrations we can hear, but of the most fundamental and life-giving energy in our solar system, the energy of light. Having purified the physical vessel and tuned our inner instrument with the harmony of sound, we now turn to the most fundamental and all-pervading energy in our world, the energy that dictates the very rhythm of life itself, light. The pineal gland is, at its core, a master photoreceptor, a biological light meter of exquisite sensitivity. Its ancient purpose is to perceive the grand cosmic cycle of day and night and translate that celestial rhythm into the chemical language of the body. It is the conductor of our internal orchestra, using the simple cues of light and darkness to command the release of hormones that govern our energy, our mood, and our sleep in our natural state. This is a perfect, self-regulating system. But the modern world has hacked this system, creating a profound disconnection from the very cycles that are hardwired into our DNA. The single greatest disruption to our pineal gland's function is the tyranny of artificial light. We live in a state of perpetual, unnatural twilight. Long after the sun has set, we immerse ourselves in the cool, blue-hued glow of our phones, our televisions, our laptops, and the harsh, energy-efficient LED and fluorescent bulbs that illuminate our homes. This specific spectrum of blue light is to the pineal gland, biochemically indistinguishable from the light of the midday sun. And so, at 10, 11, or even midnight, as we scroll through our feeds, we are sending a frantic and confusing signal directly to the center of our brain. A signal that screams, "It is noon. Stay awake. Be alert." In response to this false signal, the pineal gland halts its most sacred nocturnal duty, the conversion of serotonin into melatonin, the production of the master hormone of sleep, healing, and regeneration grinds to a stop. This results in far more than just a poor night's sleep. It creates a state of chronic circadian disruption, leaving us feeling tired but wired, anxious, and disconnected. On a spiritual level, it means our third eye is never given the environment it needs to truly open. It is kept in a state of perpetual, low-level activation, never allowed to plunge into the profound, generative darkness for which it yearns. The darkness where its more mystical functions are said to take place. To counteract this, we must become masters of our light environment. We must consciously create a sacred space for darkness. The first step is to establish a digital sunset, turning off all screens at least 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. The second, and equally crucial step, is to transform your bedroom into a true sleep sanctuary, a veritable cathedral of darkness. This means achieving a level of darkness so complete that you cannot see your hand in front of your face. Invest in high-quality blackout curtains. Cover or unplug every single electronic device that emits even the faintest LED light. The tiny red or green dots on your television, your computer, or your power strips. These may seem insignificant, but to the sensitive pineal gland, they are flickers of noise in the sacred silence of the night. A comfortable eye mask can be a powerful tool in this endeavor. By committing to this practice of embracing absolute darkness, you are giving your pineal gland the single most important gift it can receive. You are finally allowing it to do its job, to flood your body with restorative melatonin, and to create the precise neurochemical environment that is believed to be the precursor to lucid dreaming, spontaneous spiritual insights, and even the natural, endogenous release of DMT. Just as we must embrace the profound power of darkness, we must also learn to consciously engage with the power of natural light. This brings us to the ancient and potent practice of sun gazing. This is not a New Age trend. It is a revered spiritual practice with roots in ancient Egypt, India, and the Americas. Cultures that understood the sun not as an inanimate ball of gas, but as a source of divine intelligence and life-giving energy, or prana. The theory is that, during specific and very short windows of time, the sun's energy can be taken in directly through the eyes, bypassing the digestive system and providing a powerful form of nourishment that directly charges the pineal gland, stimulates the brain, and revitalizes the entire body. However, before we proceed, it is absolutely vital to understand the safety protocols. This practice is powerful, but it carries a significant risk if done incorrectly. Let us be unequivocally clear. Looking directly at the sun outside of the designated safe hours will cause permanent eye damage and can lead to blindness. There are no exceptions to this rule. The safe hours for sun gazing are only the first hour after sunrise and the last hour before sunset. During these times, the sun is closest to the horizon, and its light is filtered through more of the Earth's atmosphere, bringing the ultraviolet, or UV, index down to 0 or near 0, which is the only time it is safe. To begin the practice, you start slow, with immense respect. During the first safe hour of the day, or the last, find a comfortable spot where you can stand barefoot on the earth, allowing yourself to be grounded. In the first session, you look directly at the sun for just 10 seconds. That is all. Then you close your eyes and allow the impression of the light to linger, visualizing it entering your body and charging the center of your head. The next day, you can increase the duration by another 10 seconds to a total of 20. You continue this gradual progression, adding 10 seconds each day, always listening intently to your body. If you feel any discomfort, you stop immediately. This is not a discipline of endurance. It is a practice of gentle, reverent reception. As you do this, you are not just looking at the sun. You are engaging in a communion. This is where the wisdom of a spiritual teacher like Eckhart Tolle, from his transformative audiobook, The Power of Now, becomes a perfect guide. Tolle speaks of the simple, profound power of being fully present with nature, of observing a flower or a tree without the filter of mental labels. Sun gazing, when done correctly, is a deep meditation on the present moment. You are not doing sun gazing. You are being present with the rising or setting sun. You are dissolving the illusion of separation between you, the observer, and the light. The observed, the nourishment you are receiving is not just photonic. It is the energy of the now, a direct transmission from the heart of our solar system. By consciously managing our relationship with light and darkness, we are returning to the sacred rhythm that has governed life on this planet for eons. It is a dance between the yin of darkness, which allows for healing, dreaming, and introspection, and the yang of light, which allows for energy, expression, and conscious connection. Our pineal gland is the master choreographer of this dance within our own biology. Abusing it with constant artificial light throws the dance into chaos. Honoring its natural cycles brings our entire being back into a state of graceful, harmonic flow. So far on our journey, we have addressed the foundational layers of awakening. We have learned how to physically purify the gland through decalcification. We have learned how to vibrationally tune it with the frequencies of sound. And now, we have learned how to honor its most fundamental operational need by managing our daily exposure to light and darkness. The temple has been cleansed, the instrument has been tuned, and the sacred space has been prepared. The foundation is now set. The next logical and most powerful step is to turn our attention fully inward, to enter the temple we have so carefully prepared, and to use the focused, laser-like power of our own consciousness to directly engage the pineal gland through the timeless practice of meditation. We have arrived at the heart of the great work. We have meticulously cleansed the physical vessel, clearing away the calcified static that muffles our inner connection. We have tuned our energetic body with the harmonic resonance of sound and have realigned ourselves with the primordial, cosmic rhythms of light and darkness. We have prepared the temple, swept its floors, and opened its windows. Now, the time has come to enter the Holy of Holies, to step across the threshold and engage directly with the altar of consciousness. This is accomplished through the single most powerful and direct tool available to humanity for self-transformation: the timeless practice of meditation. If decalcification is cleaning the lens and sound is vibrating it, meditation is the act of consciously choosing to look through it. It is the master key that unlocks the door we have so carefully prepared. The foundational technique for activating the pineal gland is beautifully simple in its instruction, yet infinitely profound in its practice. It is a meditation of focused attention, specifically on the location of the third eye, or the Ajna chakra. Find a comfortable position, with your spine relatively straight to allow for the free flow of energy, and gently close your eyes. Let your body relax. Let the tensions of the day melt away. Then, bring your awareness, your gentle, focused attention, to the point in between your eyebrows and about an inch inward into the center of your head. This is the crucial part. The quality of your attention should not be forceful or strained. Do not try to drill a hole in your forehead with your mind. Instead, let it be a soft, persistent, loving gaze. Imagine you are trying to feel a very subtle pulse in that area, or that you are resting a single, soft feather of awareness on that spot. At first, you may feel nothing at all, and that is perfectly fine. The goal is not to feel, but simply to place your attention there. You are holding a single point of focus, a silent, steady knock on the inner door. To deepen this practice and give your mind a more tangible anchor, we can employ the power of visualization. As you hold your attention on the third eye center, begin to imagine a small, radiant sphere of light at that location. The color most associated with the Ajna chakra is a deep, luminous indigo or violet, the color of the twilight sky just before the stars appear. With each slow, deep inhalation, visualize this sphere of indigo light gently expanding, growing brighter and more vibrant. With each exhalation, see it contract slightly, not diminishing, but consolidating its energy, becoming even more potent and concentrated. Another powerful visualization is to imagine a miniature sun, a brilliant, golden white star, ignited in the center of your brain. Feel its warmth radiating outwards, filling your entire skull with a healing, intelligent light. Feel it dissolving any remaining blockages or shadows, its rays extending down your spine and out to every cell in your body. Or you might choose to work with the potent symbol of the lotus flower. Visualize a closed, thousand-petaled lotus at the site of your pineal gland. As you breathe with sustained focus, watch as the petals begin to slowly, gracefully unfurl, each one revealing more of the radiant, diamond-like jewel of consciousness that rests at its core. These are not mere mental pictures. They are energetic instructions, ways of using the creative power of your imagination to direct and concentrate life force energy. This is where the science of a modern mystic like Dr. Joe Dispenza, whose work is brilliantly explored in audiobooks like Becoming Supernatural, provides a powerful framework for what is happening. Dr. Dispenza's central teaching is that where you place your attention is where you place your energy. This is not a metaphor. It is a literal, neurological, and biological reality. When you consistently rest your awareness on a single point, like the pineal gland, you are physically altering your brain. You are increasing blood flow, oxygen, and nutrients to that specific region. You are stimulating a cascade of neural activity, encouraging dormant pathways to fire up and new connections to be made. You are, in effect, signaling the genes in those cells to express themselves in new, heightened ways. Through the power of focused attention, you are moving from being a passive victim of your biological programming to becoming the conscious architect of your own neurology. You are no longer waiting for an external event to change your inner state. You are using your inner state to change your brain, your body, and ultimately, your life. You are literally becoming supernatural. The profound effects of this practice are no longer just the domain of mystics. They are being measured and validated in laboratories around the world. Scientific studies conducted on long-term meditators, such as Tibetan Buddhist monks, have revealed extraordinary changes in their brains. They exhibit remarkably high levels of gamma brainwave activity, the fastest frequency, which is associated with peak states of consciousness, heightened awareness, and feelings of universal compassion. Their brains also show a thicker prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for focus, emotional regulation, and executive function. They are, quite literally, sculpting their brains through thought alone. This scientific validation is important. It serves as a bridge for the rational mind, assuring us that meditation is not a passive act of wishful thinking, but a trainable skill that produces measurable, physiological results. Of course, the path of meditation is not without its challenges. The moment you decide to focus your mind, you will likely discover what is known as the monkey mind, a relentless chattering of random thoughts, worries, memories, and plans. The key is not to fight it. Fighting your thoughts only creates more tension. The practice is not about achieving a blank mind, but about changing your relationship to your thoughts. When you notice your attention has wandered away from your third eye, and it will thousands of times, simply and gently, without judgment or frustration, escort it back. Every time you perform this act of returning, you are strengthening your muscle of attention. Think of it as a single repetition in a mental gym. The wandering is not a failure. It is an opportunity to do another rep. The other common trap is impatience, the striving for an experience. We may sit down expecting to see visions, hear celestial music, or have a universe-shattering epiphany. This very expectation creates a tension that blocks the subtle energies we wish to perceive. The true key is surrender. You set your intention. You hold your focus gently, and then you let go of all outcomes. Content to simply sit in the quiet darkness of your own being. The most profound experiences often arrive when you are no longer looking for them. To aid in this process, we can begin to consciously use our breath, not just as a means of survival, but as a vehicle for transporting energy, or prana. As you breathe in, imagine you are drawing this vital life force energy up from the base of your spine. A current of light traveling up a central channel, pooling and concentrating at your third eye as you hold the breath for a moment, before gently releasing it on the exhale. This simple addition begins to marry the power of your attention with the power of your life force. Meditation is the central pillar, the master key that gives context and purpose to all the other preparations. It is the deliberate, conscious act of turning inward to awaken the God within. It is how we move from knowledge to direct experience. But what if we could refine this practice even further? What if we could turn that gentle, life-sustaining breath into a powerful, targeted bellows, capable of fanning the inner spark of our third eye into a roaring, conscious flame? There are ancient, sophisticated technologies of breath designed to do precisely that, to build, concentrate, and direct prana with an astonishing degree of precision. These are the practices of pranayama. If meditation is the master key that unlocks the inner sanctum, then pranayama is the alchemical science of forging that key from the most fundamental substance of life itself, the breath. We take over 20,000 breaths a day, each one an unconscious, automatic act of survival. Pranayama is the art of transforming this mundane function into a conscious act of power. The word itself, from the ancient Sanskrit, can be broken down into prana, which means the universal life force energy that permeates everything, and yama, which can mean control or expansion. Pranayama, therefore, is not merely a breathing exercise. It is the practice of consciously directing the flow of life force energy throughout our system to heal, energize, and awaken. It is the understanding that within our very breath lies the ability to change our chemistry, calm our nervous system, and pump focused, potent energy directly into the pineal gland, fanning the embers of our consciousness into a brilliant flame. On a purely physiological level, conscious breathing is a powerful biohacking tool. By slowing and deepening the breath, we shift our nervous system out of the sympathetic state of fight or flight and into the parasympathetic state of rest and digest, creating the perfect inner climate for spiritual work. We increase the oxygen saturation of our blood, feeding our brain and allowing for higher cognitive function and clarity. But the yogis of old knew that its effects ran far deeper. They saw the breath as the bridge between the material world and the world of energy, and they developed specific techniques to harness its power. One of the most direct and potent practices for stimulating the third eye is known as Brahmari Pranayama, or the bee breath. The beauty of Brahmari lies in its use of vibration, a principle we explored in sound healing. But this time, the sound is generated internally. To practice it, you find a comfortable seated position. You will use a hand position, or mudra, called Shanmukhi Mudra, which is designed to close off the outer senses and turn your awareness inward. Gently use your thumbs to close your ear canals, your index fingers to rest lightly on your closed eyelids, your middle fingers on the sides of your nose, and your ring and pinky fingers above and below your lips. Take a slow, deep inhalation through your nose. Then, as you exhale, keeping your lips lightly sealed, you create a low to medium-pitched humming sound from the back of your throat, like the steady, resonant buzz of a bumblebee. The sound should be smooth and continuous for the entire duration of your exhale. The effect is immediate and profound. The vibration of your hum resonates through your jaw, your sinuses, and the bones of your skull, creating a gentle but powerful internal sonic massage. You can physically feel this vibration concentrating in the center of your head, directly stimulating the pineal gland in a way no external sound can. It is a targeted, internal cymatics experiment. using your own voice to create a harmonic resonance that clears energetic pathways and awakens the dormant crystal within. Practicing just 5 to 7 rounds of Brahmari can silence the mental chatter and leave you in a state of deep, vibrating peace. Perfectly primed for meditation. Another cornerstone of pranayama is nadi shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. While Brahmari uses vibration, nadi shodhana works by balancing the body's primary energy channels. Yogic philosophy teaches that we have 2 main channels, or nadis, that run alongside the spine, the ida, on the left, which is associated with the feminine, lunar, cooling, and intuitive aspects of our nature, and the pingala, on the right, associated with the masculine, solar, heating, and logical aspects. In most people, these channels are out of balance, with one often dominating the other, leading to a state of internal discord. The purpose of nadi shodhana is to purify and balance these 2 channels, which in turn encourages prana to flow up the central channel, the sushumna nadi, which runs through the spine and directly energizes the chakras, including the ajna, or third eye. To practice it, you use the Vishnu mudra with your right hand, folding your index and middle fingers down and using your thumb and ring finger. Gently close your right nostril with your thumb and inhale slowly and deeply through your left nostril. Then, close your left nostril with your ring finger. Release your thumb and exhale slowly through your right nostril. Now, you inhale through the right nostril, close it with your thumb, and exhale through the left. This completes one full cycle. Performing this slow, rhythmic breathing for 5 to 10 minutes has a remarkable effect. It harmonizes the 2 hemispheres of the brain, creating a state of profound calm, serenity, and focused clarity, the ideal state for deep inner exploration. For those who wish to delve deeper, there is the powerful technique of breath retention, known as kumbhaka. If simple breathing is like a gentle stream, kumbhaka is like building a dam to gather the water's power before releasing it in a focused, energetic torrent. There is antara kumbhaka, holding the breath after inhalation, and baya kumbhaka, holding the breath after exhalation. When you inhale deeply and hold the breath, you are building a powerful charge of prana and oxygen in your system. By holding this charge while focusing your attention on the third eye, you are directing that accumulated energy to that specific point, supercharging it. This practice should be approached with respect and without strain, starting with short holds and gradually increasing. The stories of the great yogic masters, as chronicled in audiobooks, like the spiritual classic Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, are filled with accounts of the seemingly miraculous power of pranayama. Yogananda describes how his guru taught him the ancient science of Kriya Yoga, where advanced pranayama techniques were used to consciously control the life force, rendering the breath and heartbeat unnecessary for extended periods. These masters could untie the rope of breath that binds the soul to the body, allowing them to enter states of cosmic consciousness at will. They saw pranayama not as a relaxation technique, but as the key to a complete mastery of life and death, the ultimate tool for communion with the divine. These stories remind us that the simple act of conscious breathing, when practiced with devotion, holds a power we can scarcely imagine. When you begin to combine these practices, a true alchemy occurs. You might begin with 5 minutes of nadi shodhana to balance your energy, followed by 5 rounds of Brahmari to vibrate and awaken the pineal gland, and then move directly into your third eye meditation, perhaps incorporating gentle breath retentions. The focused attention of meditation acts as the crucible. The prana gathered through your breath is the raw material. The vibration of the bee breath is the catalyst, The result is a synergistic reaction, a quickening of the awakening process that is far more potent than any single practice done in isolation. We have now journeyed through the great internal technologies of activation. We have purified the physical body. We have tuned our energetic field with sound. We have aligned ourselves with the cosmic rhythms of light. We have focused our consciousness with meditation. And now, we have learned to pump the system full of vital energy through the science of pranayama. We have covered the path of turning the keys from within. This mastery of the inner world naturally raises a provocative question. For thousands of years, in cultures across the globe, shamans and mystics have claimed that our very own planet provides certain external keys. Sacred plants and fungi capable of unlocking these same inner doorways, often in a far more direct, dramatic, and world-shattering fashion. This leads us to a controversial, but essential part of our exploration. We have journeyed deep into the interior landscape of the self, exploring the elegant and powerful technologies of consciousness available to every human being. We have learned to cleanse our physical temple, to tune our energetic field with sound and light, and to harness the alchemical power of meditation and breath. This is the path of the yogi, the disciplined and patient cultivation of inner fire. It is a steady, deliberate climb up the sacred mountain of awareness. But we must now acknowledge another path, one that has been walked in shadow and secrecy for millennia by the shamans and mystics of the world. It is a path that suggests Mother Earth herself, in her infinite wisdom, has provided certain external keys, potent plant and fungal allies that can bypass the long climb and offer a direct, thunderous, and often terrifying flight to the summit. This is the controversial and profoundly sacred world of entheogens. The term, meaning generating the divine within, is a crucial distinction. We are not speaking of recreational drugs used to escape reality, but of sacred sacraments, plant teachers used in ceremonial contexts to dive into the very heart of it. For countless generations in the Amazon basin, indigenous shamans, or ayahuascros, have brewed a sacred tea known as ayahuasca, the vine of the soul. This is not a simple herbal infusion, but a sophisticated act of ancient biochemistry. It combines two different plants, one containing the powerful visionary compound DMT, and another containing a monoamine oxidase inhibitor MAOI. Alone, the DMT would be rendered inert by our digestive enzymes, but the shamans discovered, through a process they attribute to direct instruction from the plants themselves, that the MAOI-containing vine acts as a key, unlocking the doorway for the DMT to enter the bloodstream and cross the blood-brain barrier. The purpose of an ayahuasca ceremony is not a party, it is a profound, often grueling, spiritual surgery. Participants drink the bitter brew under the guidance of an experienced shaman, whose chants, oricaros, serve as a sonic rudder, steering the ceremonial canoe through the sometimes turbulent, sometimes ecstatic, visionary waters. They face their deepest fears, release ancient traumas, and often report communicating with intelligent, benevolent entities who offer profound wisdom and healing. It is a journey into the underworld of the self to be reborn. Similarly, in the mountains of Mexico, the Mazatec people have long revered the psilocybin mushroom as Tiananacatl, the flesh of the gods. The famous curandera, or healer, Maria Sabina, introduced this sacrament to the Western world. But for her people, the mushrooms were not a substance. They were a voice. They were wise, ancient beings who, when ingested with reverence and intention, would speak through the healer, diagnosing illnesses, revealing hidden truths, and providing guidance. To journey with the sacred mushroom was to attend a council with the living intelligence of the earth. These traditions, and countless others like them across the globe, share a common belief that these plants are not a chemical trick, but a direct line of communication to a deeper, organizing intelligence in the universe. This ancient shamanic worldview found a startling echo in the modern scientific research of Dr. Rick Strassman, detailed in his groundbreaking audiobook, DMT, The Spirit Molecule. Strassman conducted the first FDA-approved clinical research into human subjects and psychedelics in over 20 years. Administering intravenous DMT to dozens of volunteers, he documented their experiences, which were consistently characterized by a rapid dissolution of the ego and a sense of being catapulted into highly complex geometric dimensions inhabited by intelligent, independent beings. What makes Strassman's work so relevant to our exploration is his central hypothesis. He theorized that the human pineal gland is capable of producing its own supply of DMT. He suggested that it may be released naturally at pivotal moments of psycho-spiritual intensity, at birth, during profound meditative states, in near-death experiences, and finally, at the moment of death, serving as the biological gateway for consciousness to enter and exit this physical reality. From this perspective, taking an entheogen like ayahuasca is not introducing a foreign substance, but rather flooding the brain with an overwhelming dose of a compound it already recognizes, a neurochemical key it already possesses. It is a way of kicking down the inner door rather than patiently learning the combination to the lock. It is precisely because of this overwhelming power that we must pause and issue a profound and unequivocal warning. This discussion is an anthropological, historical, and philosophical exploration. It is not an endorsement, a recommendation, or a guide. The path of entheogens is fraught with very real and significant dangers. First, there are the legal risks. These substances are classified as illegal narcotics in most countries around the world, and their possession or use can lead to severe, life-altering legal consequences. Second, and perhaps most importantly, are the psychological risks. These experiences are not always filled with love and light. They can be terrifying, confronting you with your deepest demons in a state of utter ego dissolution. For individuals with latent or pre-existing mental health conditions, such as schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, such an experience can be destabilizing and potentially trigger a lasting psychosis. This path is absolutely not for everyone. Finally, there are the spiritual risks. Without proper guidance, integration, and a foundation of profound humility, these powerful experiences can lead to a dangerous inflation of the ego, a sense of being chosen or spiritually superior. It can also lead to a state of chronic dissociation or spiritual bypassing, where one becomes so enamored with visionary realms that they neglect the responsibilities and lessons of their everyday human life. Those who navigate these waters with reverence speak of a sacred trinity that is essential for safe passage: set, setting, and intention. Set refers to your mindset, the psychological state you bring to the experience. It is the difference between seeking a recreational thrill and humbly seeking healing or knowledge. Setting is your physical environment. It must be a place where you feel completely safe, comfortable, and supported, ideally overseen by a trusted and deeply experienced guide who can hold a grounded space for your journey. Intention is your anchor, the why that guides your voyage. It is the question you are bringing to the plant teacher, the healing you are asking for. Without these three pillars, one is not engaging in a sacred ritual, but playing a dangerous game of psychological Russian roulette. This brings us to a crucial comparison: The path of the shaman with his plant allies is a rocket ship. It offers the promise of a rapid, breathtaking ascent to the mountaintop. The path of the yogi, with his breath and meditation, is a slow, methodical climb. The rocket ship is undeniably faster, but the G-forces can be shattering, and there is a very real risk it might explode on the launch pad. The climb is arduous and demands discipline, but with every step, you build strength, resilience, and wisdom. The view from the summit may be the same, but the person who arrives is fundamentally different. The climber arrives with the integrated strength of their journey etched into their very being. The astronaut may arrive disoriented, struggling to make sense of what they have seen. In his fascinating work, The Cosmic Serpent, anthropologist Jeremy Narby proposes that shamans, in their ayahuasca-induced visions, were actually gaining access to the biological and quantum reality of DNA itself, communicating with the cosmic intelligence inherent in all life. This is a breathtaking idea, and it honors the profound knowledge these traditions hold. Yet, the internal path, the way of the yogi, offers a promise that is perhaps even more empowering, that this same universal intelligence is not only out there in the plants, but is already in here, woven into the fabric of our own consciousness, waiting to be accessed through the steadfast application of our own attention and our own breath. The choice of the path, ultimately, is a matter of profound personal resonance, but the path of self-mastery is always available, always safe, and it ultimately leads not just to a fleeting vision of the light, but to the permanent embodiment of it in our daily lives. Having journeyed through the internal arts of purification and activation, a profound shift begins to occur. It is not always a dramatic explosion of light or a sudden, cinematic vision. More often, it is a quiet, subtle, yet fundamental alteration in the very nature of your perception. The world, which once seemed like a series of random, disconnected events, slowly begins to reveal a hidden layer of meaning, an intricate and intelligent pattern, moving just beneath the surface of reality. It's as if you have spent your life listening to a symphony in monophonic sound, and suddenly, you are hearing it in full, immersive stereo. You are beginning to learn the native language of the universe, a language that is not spoken in words, but in symbols, synchronicities, and the unwavering whisper of your own intuition. An awakened third eye does not just see the world, it sees into it, recognizing the invisible threads that connect all things. The primary grammar of this new language is synchronicity, coined by the brilliant psychologist Carl Jung. Synchronicity refers to a meaningful coincidence, an event where the inner world of your thoughts and feelings aligns perfectly with an external event in a way that has no apparent causal connection, yet is profoundly significant to you. It is that moment when you are wrestling with a difficult decision, and a book falls off a shelf, opening to a page that contains the very answer you were seeking. It is thinking of a friend you haven't spoken to in a decade, only to have them call you that very afternoon. It is seeing the same number sequence, like 11, 11 or 444, or the same unusual animal, like an owl or a fox, appearing repeatedly during a period of intense personal transformation. The rational mind, trained to see only cause and effect, dismisses these moments as mere chance. But the awakened consciousness recognizes them for what they are: winks from the cosmos, affirmations from your higher self, breadcrumbs on the trail left by a benevolent, intelligent universe to let you know you are on the right path, or to gently guide your attention towards something you need to see. The entire narrative of James Redfield's phenomenal audiobook, The Celestine Prophecy, is a masterclass in how to live a life guided by synchronicity. The protagonist is not a hero of action, but a hero of attention, His entire journey of spiritual discovery is propelled by his willingness to follow these meaningful coincidences. A chance encounter with an old acquaintance. A sudden, intuitive urge to travel to Peru. A conversation overheard at just the right moment. Each synchronicity is a key that unlocks the next phase of his journey and reveals another of the 9 celestial insights. Redfield's work is so powerful because it frames this way of life not as a fantasy, but as a learnable skill, as a new mode of being that becomes available when we heighten our energetic state and learn to pay attention. When your pineal gland is decalcified and active, you become a magnet for these experiences. Your heightened awareness begins to notice the subtle alignments that were always there, but previously invisible. You learn to trust that when a synchronicity appears, it is a message meant specifically for you. A personal note from the director of the grand play of your life. This leads us to the other pillar of this divine language: intuition. Intuition is a form of intelligence that is fundamentally different from logic and reason. Logic analyzes, dissects, and works with known data from the past. Intuition synthesizes, feels, and accesses a knowing from a source beyond immediate data. It is the quiet gut feeling, the calm, unshakable certainty that arises from a place of deep inner peace. An activated pineal gland acts as a powerful amplifier for this faculty. As the mental static of the ego mind quiets down, the clear, subtle signal of your intuition becomes much easier to hear. It is crucial to learn the difference between true intuition and its imposters. Fear and desire. Fear is loud, frantic, and emotionally charged. It often comes with a sense of contraction and anxiety. Desire is also loud, grasping, and attached to a specific outcome. True intuition, however, is almost always calm, quiet, and neutral. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It presents a simple truth without a heavy emotional charge. It feels like a deep resonance, a simple yes or no that arises from your core. Learning to trust this inner compass is one of the most important skills on the spiritual path. It is the voice of your soul, your direct connection to the universal mind, guiding you with flawless precision. This communication is not limited to our waking hour. As your pineal gland functions more optimally, producing melatonin in a healthy rhythm, your dream life often becomes richer, more vivid, and more meaningful. The dream world is the natural classroom of the subconscious, a place where it communicates with you not in linear prose, but in the rich, poetic language of symbols. An active third eye can lead to more lucid dreams, where you become aware that you are dreaming and can actively participate in and explore the dreamscape. To engage with this nightly guidance, it is wise to abandon rigid dream dictionaries that assign fixed meanings to symbols. Instead, approach your dreams as your own personal mythology. A snake in your dream might not mean what a book says it means. It means what a snake represents to you. How did it make you feel? What was it doing? The feelings and themes in your dreams are often more important than the literal content. They are a direct line to your subconscious mind and a fertile ground for receiving guidance that your conscious mind might otherwise block. To truly master this new language, it is essential to begin a dialogue. The most effective way to do this is to keep a synchronicity and dream journal. This simple act is transformative. When you take the time to write down the meaningful coincidences, the intuitive hits, and the significant dreams you experience, you are sending a powerful message back to the universe. I am listening. I am paying attention. Thank you. More, please. The act of recording these events solidifies them, preventing your rational mind from dismissing them later. Over time, as you look back through your journal, you will begin to see breathtaking patterns emerge. a golden thread of guidance that has been weaving through your life all along. You will have undeniable, written proof that you are not alone, that you are being guided, and that you are in constant conversation with an intelligent and loving cosmos. By purifying your vessel and attuning your consciousness, you have fundamentally upgraded your ability to perceive reality. You have become a pattern recognition machine for the soul. You start to see how the dream you had last night connects to the synchronicity you saw on your drive to work, and how both of them illuminate the intuitive feeling you had in a conversation. You recognize that these are not separate phenomena, but different dialects of the same universal language. You have learned how to receive messages, how to read the signs, how to hear the whispers of guidance that are constantly flowing to you. You have mastered the receptive half of a divine conversation, and this newfound understanding naturally leads to the next evolutionary step, from being a passive receiver of guidance to an active co-creator of your reality. For if the universe is constantly speaking to us, it is also constantly listening. The next question is, how do we speak back? How do we broadcast our own intentions, our own dreams, our own desires into the quantum field with such clarity and power that the universe has no choice but to respond? This is the art of conscious manifestation, and the pineal gland is the ultimate transmitter. We have learned to quiet our minds and listen, to interpret the subtle language of the universe, spoken through the poetry of synchronicity and the whispers of intuition. We have shifted from being unconscious participants in our reality to being conscious observers, aware that we are part of a grand, intelligent dialogue. Now, we arrive at the next breathtaking evolutionary step. The transition from simply listening to the conversation to actively shaping its direction. It is our turn to speak. We move now from being a receiver to becoming a powerful, conscious transmitter. This is the core principle behind the law of attraction, a law as fundamental as gravity, which states that you do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. Your entire being is a vibrational broadcast, and the universe, in its infinite and impartial wisdom, simply matches that frequency and reflects it back to you as the people, places, and experiences of your life. The master key to controlling this broadcast, the very antenna that focuses and transmits your signal into the quantum field, is your activated pineal gland. For centuries, the law of attraction has been shrouded in misconception, often diluted into a simplistic formula of positive thinking. But its true mechanism is far more profound and scientific. It is about energetic resonance and the pineal gland, a crystalline, piezoelectric structure located in the geometric center of your brain's powerful electrical field, is the biological apparatus that translates your inner state into a coherent electromagnetic signal. Think of it this way: scattered, unfocused thoughts and fleeting emotions are like the light from a common light bulb, diffusing energy weakly in all directions. It has an effect, but it is faint and chaotic. A thought that is held with unwavering focus, charged with a powerful, coherent emotion like love or gratitude, and aimed through the lens of an activated pineal gland, becomes a laser. It is a single, powerful, coherent frequency that can travel through the quantum field and impress itself upon the sea of infinite possibility, influencing reality itself. Your third eye is not just an eye to see with, it is a voice to speak with. The timeless wisdom of Napoleon Hill's classic audiobook, Think and Grow Rich, becomes a practical instruction manual when viewed through this energetic lens. Hill repeatedly speaks of the absolute necessity of a burning desire or a white-hot desire as the starting point of all achievement. This is not simply about wanting something very badly. From a metaphysical perspective, a burning desire is a state of supreme energetic coherence. It is the perfect alignment of a crystal-clear thought with a powerful, sustained emotion, held in the mind with such intensity that it becomes the dominant vibration of your being. It is the laser beam. Hill also taught the principle of autosuggestion, the art of impressing a thought upon your subconscious mind until it is accepted as fact. The pineal gland is the physical interface for this process. When you meditate, visualizing your goal as already complete while feeling the elevated emotions of its fulfillment, you are using the focused power of your consciousness to instruct the pineal gland. The gland, in turn, translates this instruction into a vibrational signal that it broadcasts into what Hill called the ether, what modern physics might call the quantum field. You are literally tuning your being to the frequency of your desired reality. This is why the practice of visualization becomes so much more potent with an awakened third eye. This is not about idly daydreaming. It is about creating a full sensory, holographic simulation of your desired reality within your mind. A decalcified and active pineal gland, the true mind's eye, allows you to render this inner world with astonishing vividness and detail. You do not just see yourself in your new home. You feel the cool marble under your feet. You smell the fresh paint. You hear the echo in the hallway. You feel the profound sense of peace and security of being there. You don't just visualize a healthy body. You feel the energy surging through your veins, the strength in your limbs, the easy rhythm of your breath. This sensory richness is absolutely crucial because it is what generates the most powerful element of the broadcast. The feeling. The universe does not respond to your words or even your pictures. It responds to the vibrational signature of your feelings. By creating a holographic simulation so real that your body believes it is already happening, you begin to generate the genuine emotions of gratitude, joy, and relief as if your desire has already been fulfilled. This feeling, this state of being, is the magnetic signature that draws the corresponding reality to you. This, then, is the great work of conscious creation, aligning your broadcast. Your pineal gland transmits your dominant state of being. You cannot hope to attract wealth while constantly feeling the vibration of lack and scarcity. You cannot manifest a loving partnership while broadcasting a signal of loneliness and unworthiness. You must become, on an energetic level, the person you wish to be before the evidence appears in your physical world. This means consciously choosing your thoughts and, more importantly, consciously cultivating your feelings. It is the practice of finding reasons to feel gratitude right now, even in small things, to train your body to live in that receptive, abundant state. It is the discipline of catching negative thought patterns before they spiral and choosing a better feeling thought instead. You are the DJ of your own frequency, and your job is to keep playing the song of your desired future until the world around you begins to dance to its rhythm. The entire process can be seen as a sacred ritual of co-creation, with the pineal gland at its center. First, you achieve clarity, defining your desire with precision, writing it down, and making it real. Second, you enter a meditative state, using your third eye to focus and broadcast, creating that vivid, holographic simulation of your wish fulfilled. Third, you add the fuel, consciously generating the elevated emotions of love, joy, and profound gratitude, feeling it in every cell of your body, especially in your heart center. Finally, and this is a crucial step, you surrender. You trust that the signal has been sent perfectly and powerfully. You release your attachment to the how and the when, and you go about your day in a state of faith, looking for the synchronicities and intuitive nudges that will guide you on the path to its fulfillment. You have placed your order with the cosmos, and you know the delivery is on its way, the pineal gland. Therefore, reveals itself as the ultimate alchemical instrument, the biological bridge between mind and matter. It is the organ that translates the non-physical, energetic blueprint of your consciousness into a signal that literally informs and shapes the physical world you experience. We have now explored the profound theory of how this biotechnology functions, both as a receiver of universal intelligence and as a powerful transmitter of personal intention. This theoretical understanding is the map, but a map is not the territory. This knowledge naturally awakens a deep curiosity about the destination itself. What does it actually feel like when this system is fully online? What are the subjective sensory, emotional, and cognitive phenomena that one can expect when the third eye truly awakens from its long slumber? We have now traversed the intricate landscape of theory and practice, the how-to of awakening the third eye. We have assembled the map, gathered the tools, and understood the principles of navigation. But this journey of inner alchemy has always pointed towards a singular destination, a state of being so transformative that it has been the subject of myth, legend, and sacred scripture for millennia. So, what is it actually like on the other side of the veil? What are the subjective, felt experiences that arise when the pineal gland awakens from its long slumber and the gateway to higher consciousness swings open? It is a multisensory, multidimensional flowering, an experience that unfolds across the spectrum of our perception, touching our senses, our emotions, and our very thoughts in ways that are profound and life-altering. The first intimations are often sensory, subtle shifts in your inner visual field that occur during deep meditation. It may begin as a gentle pulsing sensation in the center of your forehead, a feeling of energetic pressure or a pleasant warmth where you have been placing your attention. Soon after, you might begin to perceive light where there should only be darkness. At first, it's a nebulous, swirling mist of faint violet or white light behind your closed eyelids. As you continue your practice, this amorphous light may coalesce into a single, steady point of brilliant blue or indigo light, a radiant star in your inner firmament. This is what the yogic traditions call the kutastha, or the spiritual eye, the blue pearl of consciousness. To gaze upon it is to gaze upon the portal itself. Then, something truly extraordinary can begin to occur. This inner space can blossom into a dynamic, breathtaking display of sacred geometry. You may find yourself flying through intricate, pulsating tunnels of kaleidoscopic fractals, or witnessing the spontaneous formation of complex mandalas, each one impossibly detailed and humming with a silent, vibrational intelligence. This is the visual manifestation of creation's symphony, the cymatic patterns of the universe made visible to your inner sight. The colors you witness are often hyper-vivid, possessing a luminosity and saturation that seem to transcend the normal spectrum of light. Colors you feel you have never seen before, yet somehow deeply recognize. While these inner visions are captivating, they are merely the opening act. The true heart of the experience is emotional. It is a profound shift in your affective state, a direct experience of the emotions that mystics and saints have attempted to describe for centuries. Foremost among these is a feeling of overwhelming, unconditional love. This is not the transactional love of everyday life. It is a boundless, radiant force that permeates everything. You feel it flowing into you and out of you simultaneously. There is a sense of being profoundly, completely, and unconditionally loved by the very fabric of existence. And at the same time, you feel this same infinite love for everything and everyone. Without exception or judgment, it is an experience that melts away all fear, all resentment, all sense of separation. Accompanying this love is the dissolution of boundaries. The rigid sense of you as a separate self, locked inside a body, begins to soften and dissolve. You feel a palpable sense of unity, of oneness, with all that is, the distinction between you and the chair you are sitting in, the air you are breathing, the distant stars. It all disappears. There is only one single, unified field of consciousness, and you are that. This is the state of bliss, or ananda, a profound, unshakable peace that is not the absence of something, but the presence of everything. It is a stillness that is not empty, but is vibrant, intelligent, and ecstatically alive. This revolution in seeing and feeling is paralleled by a revolution in knowing. The cognitive shifts that accompany an awakened pineal gland can be just as stunning. One of the most common phenomena is the epiphany, or the download. You may be struggling with a complex intellectual problem or a deep life question for weeks or months. And then, in a moment of meditative stillness, the entire solution unfolds in your mind, fully formed, elegant, and breathtakingly simple. It does not feel like you figured it out. It feels like the answer was given to you, downloaded directly into your awareness. This is often accompanied by a surge of unbridled creativity. The blockages that stifle our creative flow are products of the egoic, analytical mind. When that mind quiets down, we become open channels for inspiration. Writers find that entire paragraphs and chapters flow through them effortlessly. Musicians hear complex melodies and harmonies in their inner ear. Artists can see their finished work in their mind's eye with perfect clarity before ever touching a canvas. It feels less like an act of personal creation and more like a collaboration with the muse of the cosmos, as if you are simply taking dictation from a higher intelligence. This influx of new sensory, emotional, and cognitive data can be exhilarating, but it can also be disorienting. An awakened third eye increases your sensitivity to everything, not just the beautiful and blissful, but to the energies of people, places, and even the collective emotional field. Without proper management, this can feel overwhelming. This is why grounding becomes absolutely essential. It is the practice of consciously connecting with the physical, earthly plane to balance your expanded spiritual awareness. Spending time in nature, walking barefoot on the grass, engaging in physical exercise, and eating nourishing, hearty food are not distractions from the spiritual path. They are a vital part of it. They anchor your spirit in your body and allow you to integrate these powerful new perceptions without becoming unmoored. The goal is not to permanently escape into blissful states of meditation, but to embody that bliss, that love, and that wisdom, and bring it back into your everyday life, illuminating the world around you. It is important to understand that these experiences, as extraordinary as they sound, are not an anomaly. They are a documented and universal part of the human mystical potential. You can find their echoes in every spiritual tradition, in every audiobook that chronicles the lives of the great mystics. The Christian Saint Teresa of Avila wrote of ecstatic visions of divine light and feelings of complete union with God. The Sufi poet Rumi's entire body of work is a testament to the annihilating, blissful love that dissolved his sense of self into the divine beloved. Buddhist texts are filled with detailed descriptions of the jhanas, states of deep meditative absorption characterized by profound tranquility and bliss. By realizing this, we demystify the experience. It is not something strange or reserved for a chosen few. It is our shared human birthright. We have now explored the subjective landscape of awakening. These experiences, which for so long have been the province of mystics and poets, can feel utterly magical. Yet, what if they are not a violation of natural law, but an expression of a deeper, more profound set of laws? In a surprising turn, the most advanced branch of modern science, quantum physics, is beginning to paint a picture of reality so strange, so interconnected, and so consciousness-dependent that it might just provide us with the framework to understand how these mystical experiences are not only possible, but perhaps inevitable. We have just explored the inner cosmos, the subjective landscape of an awakened consciousness filled with visions of light, feelings of boundless love, and downloads of profound wisdom. For centuries, such experiences were relegated to the realm of faith, mysticism, and poetry, considered beautiful, perhaps, but ultimately separate from the hard, objective world of science. It was assumed that a vast, unbridgeable chasm existed between the spiritual experience and the physical reality. But what if that chasm was an illusion? What if the most advanced, rigorously tested, and mind-bending branch of modern science is not debunking these mystical claims, but inadvertently providing a framework to explain them? Welcome to the world of quantum physics. The astonishing point, where the deepest spiritual truths and the most successful scientific theories are beginning to say the exact same thing. For hundreds of years, our scientific worldview was dominated by Newtonian, or classical, physics. It described a predictable, clockwork universe, a reality made of separate, solid objects interacting according to fixed laws of cause and effect. It was a world of things, but at the turn of the 20th century, as scientists began to probe the strange world of atoms and electrons, this neat and tidy picture of reality shattered. They discovered a world that was radically different, a subatomic realm governed by the laws of quantum mechanics. This is a world not of solid things, but of shimmering, interconnected webs of energy and probability. The foundational experiment that revealed this bizarre new reality, and the one that has the most profound implications for our understanding of consciousness, is the famous double-slit experiment. In simple terms, when scientists fired tiny particles like electrons at a screen with two slits in it, they expected to see two bands on the detector behind it, as if firing tiny pellets through two holes. But that's not what they found. When no one was looking, the electrons behaved like waves, passing through both slits simultaneously and creating a complex interference pattern on the other side. A pattern of many bands. The electron, it seemed, existed as a spread-out wave of all possibilities. But here is the part that changed everything. The moment the scientists placed a detector at the slits to observe which one the electron went through, the very act of observation, the act of looking, forced the electron to make a choice. The wave of potential collapsed, and the electron behaved like a single, solid particle, passing through one slit or the other and creating only two bands. This has been replicated thousands of times. The conclusion is inescapable and staggering. The act of conscious observation directly affects the nature of physical reality. The world is not a fixed, objective out there that we simply look at. It is a participatory universe that responds to our attention. This radical idea is supported by another pillar of quantum theory, known as entanglement. Einstein famously called it spooky action at a distance. It describes a phenomenon where two particles can become linked in such a way that they remain connected, no matter how vast the distance separating them. If you measure a property of one particle, its entangled twin will instantaneously adopt a correlated property, whether it is across the room or across the galaxy. This defies our classical understanding of space and time. It suggests that on a fundamental level, everything is interconnected, that separation is an illusion. This scientific discovery provides a stunning parallel to the mystical experience of oneness or unity. The feeling of being connected to everything is not a psychological trick. It may be a direct perception of the true, non-local, entangled nature of the cosmos. So, If reality is a field of potential that is collapsed by consciousness, and everything in that field is fundamentally interconnected, what exactly is this field? Spiritual traditions have called it the divine matrix, the mind of God, or Akasha. Quantum physics calls it the quantum field, or the zero-point field. It is not empty space, but a seething, vibrant ocean of pure potentiality, a sea of infinite possibilities where every potential reality exists as a wave of probability, as Greg Braden describes in his work The Divine Matrix. This field acts as a cosmic container and mirror, a universal web that connects everything and reflects back to us the energy of our beliefs and feelings. Our consciousness is constantly interacting with this field, whether we are aware of it or not. This is where the role of our activated pineal gland comes into sharp, brilliant focus. If consciousness collapses the wave of possibility into a single, experienced reality, then what is the biological mechanism for this act of conscious, focused observation? How do we choose from the infinite menu of the quantum field? The activated pineal gland, with its crystalline structure capable of transduction, situated at the powerful energetic center of the brain, acts as the lens, the antenna, the focusing crystal for our intention. When we hold a clear, focused thought in our mind, and we charge it with the powerful, coherent energy of an elevated emotion from the heart, the pineal gland acts as the ultimate transmitter, broadcasting this specific signal into the quantum field. It is the act of observing our desired reality with such coherence and power that we influence the probability of its manifestation. We are, in effect, using our internal technology to collapse the wave of our choosing. This is the physics behind the law of attraction. It is the science behind how the inner world of thought and feeling demonstrably shapes the outer world of experience. The work of cell biologist Dr. Bruce Lipton, detailed in his audiobook, The Biology of Belief, provides the perfect bridge. Lipton's research on epigenetics proved that it is not our genes that control our destiny, but our perception of our environment that controls our genetic activity. Our beliefs and thoughts send signals that can literally change the expression of our DNA and rewrite our biology. If our consciousness has the power to alter the inner reality of our own cells, why would we believe its influence stops at the surface of our skin? Quantum physics suggests it doesn't. The same consciousness that can alter your internal biology can also influence the external biology of the quantum field. Some scientists even speculate that the brain itself functions not like a classical computer, but as a sophisticated quantum computer, with the microtubules inside our neurons acting as sites for quantum processing. In this model, the pineal gland could be seen as the master quantum interface, allowing our consciousness to communicate directly with the fundamental informational field of the universe. The mystics and yogis of old were not superstitious or delusional. They were the original quantum physicists. Through the refined instrument of their own consciousness, they were able to directly perceive the true nature of reality, a reality that our own scientific instruments are only now beginning to confirm. They understood that the universe is not a collection of dead objects, but a single, living, vibrating, conscious entity. They knew that consciousness is not something we have, but something we are, and they knew that we are not separate from this field, but are powerful co-creators within it. Science, in its own methodical language of mathematics and experiment, is arriving at the very same conclusions. So, if a single, focused consciousness can influence reality, if our individual beliefs can inform the quantum field, a new and profound question emerges. What happens when not just one, but thousands, or millions, of human beings begin to awaken to this power? What are the implications when a critical mass of humanity begins to consciously interact with this field? Not with intentions of fear and separation, but with a shared, coherent intention of love, harmony, and peace. What does this mean for the future of our species and the evolution of our planet? We have journeyed to the very edge of physics, where the line between consciousness and matter dissolves into a shimmering field of pure potential. We have seen how the focused intention of a single, conscious observer can seemingly reach into this field and collapse probability into reality. This realization is the pinnacle of individual empowerment, the discovery of the Creator within. But now, we must lift our gaze from the individual self and ask a question of staggering importance. If one human consciousness can create a ripple in the quantum ocean, what happens when thousands or millions of us begin to swim in the same direction? We are now moving beyond personal evolution and into the realm of our collective destiny. The awakening of your third eye is not just about you. It is a sacred act of planetary service, a vital contribution to the next great leap in human evolution, the awakening of the collective consciousness. Imagine the collective consciousness of humanity as a vast, invisible, energetic field in which we are all immersed. For millennia, this field has been predominantly colored by the frequencies of fear, separation, scarcity, and conflict. It is the background hum of our civilization, a chaotic static generated by countless individual minds operating from a state of egoic unconsciousness. Each act of war, each instance of greed, each fearful headline broadcast across the globe adds another discordant note to this symphony of suffering. But within this chaos, pockets of coherence have always existed, and science itself has begun to provide tantalizing evidence that a small amount of coherence can have a disproportionately large effect on the whole. This is the principle demonstrated by the Maharishi effect. In a series of studies conducted in the 1980s and 90s, sociologists and researchers observed a remarkable phenomenon. They found that when a group of people, specifically a number equal to the square root of 1% of a given population, meditated together in one place with a shared, peaceful intention, there was a measurable, statistically significant drop in negative social indicators in the surrounding area. Zreimerotes fell. Hospital admissions decreased. Traffic accidents declined. This effect was so consistent that it could be predicted in advance. This is not magic. It is spiritual physics. The meditating group acts as a powerful, coherent energetic tuning fork by broadcasting a stable, harmonious frequency of peace and coherence. They entrain the surrounding chaotic field, subtly influencing countless individuals who are completely unaware of the experiment. Their inner chaos is gently calmed by the resonant field of peace, making them slightly less likely to act out of anger, fear, or carelessness. The Maharishi effect is tangible proof that a small, dedicated group of conscious individuals can literally change the energetic weather of a city. Now, imagine this effect scaled up, not just from a small group, but from millions of individuals across the globe, each tending to their own inner peace, each awakening their own consciousness. This principle of a shared field finds another, more biological voice in the work of the brilliant and controversial biologist Rupert Sheldrake. Sheldrake proposed the theory of morphic resonance and morphic fields. In simple terms, he suggests that each species has a collective, non-local memory field. When one member of a species learns a new behavior, it changes this field. As more members learn it, the morphic field for that behavior becomes stronger, making it progressively easier for any other member of that species, anywhere in the world, to learn the same behavior. even without any physical contact. The classic, albeit metaphorical, example is the 100th monkey effect, where once a critical number of monkeys on one island learned to wash their sweet potatoes, monkeys on other isolated islands spontaneously began to do the same. In human terms, this is revolutionary. Every time a single human being overcomes a limiting belief, heals a deep-seated trauma, learns to forgive, or breaks a generational pattern of suffering, they are not just healing themselves. They are performing a software update for the entire human species. They are uploading a new possibility, a new solution, into the human morphic field, making it infinitesimally easier for every other human being to achieve that same breakthrough. Your inner work is a gift to everyone. Your personal liberation ripples outwards through the invisible field that connects us all. This brings these grand theories down to our own moment-to-moment existence. We are all living, breathing, broadcast antennas, constantly transmitting our personal energetic signature into the collective field. You have felt this instinctively your entire life. You walk into a room where an argument has just occurred, and even if everyone is silent, you can cut the tension with a knife. The frequency of anger and discord lingers in the space. Likewise, you enter a space filled with joyful, laughing people, and you feel your own spirits lift immediately. Your personal frequency is your contribution to the collective vibe. Every time you choose to react with anger, judgment, and fear, you are adding to the world's static. Every time you consciously choose to respond with compassion, understanding, and peace, you are broadcasting a frequency of coherence. You are becoming one of the tuning forks, the awakening of your third eye, which allows you to see beyond the ego's limited perspective and connect with a deeper sense of unity. Makes you a far more powerful and conscious broadcaster of these harmonious frequencies. This is the path to what visionary teachers like Eckhart Tolle, in his masterpiece A New Earth, call the next stage of human consciousness. A new Earth is not a physical utopia we build with better technology or politics. It is the external manifestation of an internal shift. It is what happens when a critical mass of humanity begins to operate from a state of awakened presence rather than from egoic delusion. The greed, violence, and environmental devastation we see in the world are not the problems. They are the symptoms of a diseased collective consciousness. They are the natural byproducts of an ego that sees itself as separate from others and from nature. When enough individuals awaken to the truth of their interconnectedness, our social structures will naturally and inevitably transform to reflect this higher consciousness. New systems of economics based on collaboration instead of competition. New forms of governance based on wisdom instead of power. And a new relationship with our planet based on reverence instead of exploitation will spontaneously arise, not because they are forced, but because they are the only sane expression of who we have become. This is not a passive hope. It is an active process. We are not waiting for a new world to be born. We are birthing it right now. Within ourselves, the journey to awaken your pineal gland, therefore, transcends personal self-improvement. It becomes the most profound political, social, and environmental act you can possibly perform. But this grand, planetary vision can feel abstract. How do we, as one person, ground this magnificent possibility into the fabric of our real, everyday lives? It begins, as all great journeys do, with a single step and a consistent, daily practice. The vision of a new Earth, born from a collective shift in consciousness, is a breathtaking and inspiring possibility. It elevates our inner work from a personal pursuit to a planetary imperative. But faced with such a grand cosmic objective, it is easy to feel overwhelmed, To wonder, what can I, one person, truly do? The answer, echoed in the wisdom of spiritual texts and the pages of modern self-help audiobooks, like Atomic Habits, is that you do not create a new reality with a single heroic leap. You build it brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. The most profound and lasting transformation arises from the power of a consistent, sacred routine. What follows is a blueprint for a day in the life of an awakening being. A practical schedule designed to cleanse, charge, and activate your pineal gland and align your entire being with the frequency of your highest potential. The journey begins not when you start your work, but in the sacred moments after you first open your eyes. This is the morning cycle, the yang phase of your day, where you set the energetic tone for everything that follows. Before you check your phone, before you let the world's demands rush in, your first act is one of purification and hydration. Upon waking, your body is in a state of dehydration and detoxification. Rehydrate it with a large glass of pure, filtered water. To amplify its cleansing power, add a squeeze of fresh lemon juice, which helps to alkalize your system, or a drop of chlorophyll, the lifeblood of plants. This simple act flushes your system and awakens your cells. Your second act is to connect with the source of all life in our solar system, the sun. Step outside for just a few minutes. Let the gentle rays of the early morning sun fall upon your face and skin. This is not just about vitamin D. It is about information. You are telling your pineal gland, your master clock, that the day has begun, syncing your circadian rhythm and igniting your inner fire. For those practicing sun gazing, this is your sacred window, a moment of direct communion. With your body hydrated and your energy awakened by the sun, you now turn to the most crucial pillar of your morning, your non-negotiable meeting with your higher self. This is your meditation practice. Even 15 minutes of conscious, dedicated inner work can radically alter the trajectory of your entire day. You can structure it like this. Begin with 5 minutes of Nadi Shodhana, the alternate nostril breathing, to calm your nervous system and balance the hemispheres of your brain. Then, transition into 10 minutes of third eye meditation. Close your eyes. Bring your gentle focus to the center of your forehead and visualize that brilliant Injigu light. Simply rest your attention there. To conclude it, practice 5 to 7 rounds of Brahmari, the bee breath. Let the internal vibration massage your pineal gland, shaking loose any energetic cobwebs and leaving you in a state of clear, focused, and vibrant peace. You emerge from this simple routine centered, grounded, and ready to engage with the day from a place of conscious awareness rather than unconscious reaction. As you move into the daytime, your goal is to maintain the coherent frequency you cultivated in the morning. This is achieved through mindful choices. Treat every meal as a sacred act of nourishment. Remember the pineal-friendly foods: organic leafy greens, antioxidant-rich berries, healthy fats like avocado and coconut oil, and perhaps a small amount of raw cacao for a midday boost. And just as importantly, be mindful of what you avoid: processed foods, refined sugars, and fluoridated water and toothpaste, which are the primary agents of calcification. Keep a bottle of pure, filtered water with you and sip it throughout the day, staying hydrated to maintain mental clarity and energetic flow. To anchor yourself amidst the day's chaos, consider setting a silent alarm on your phone for mid-morning and mid-afternoon. When it goes off, simply stop what you are doing for 60 seconds. Take 3 slow, deep breaths, and bring your awareness back to that point in the center of your forehead. This simple act is a pattern interrupt, pulling you out of the trance of daily life and reconnecting you to your center. As evening approaches, you begin the yin cycle, a conscious process of winding down and preparing for the deep, restorative work of sleep and dreams. This begins with a digital sunset. It is absolutely essential to turn off all blue light-emitting screens, your phone, laptop, television at least 1 to 2 hours before you plan to sleep. This signals to your pineal gland that darkness is falling, allowing it to begin its vital production of melatonin. Fill this screen-free time with restorative activities. Read a physical book. Listen to an audiobook or calming music. Take a warm bath with Epsom salts to relax your muscles and nervous system. Engage in quiet conversation with a loved one. This period is also the perfect time for a gentle sound healing session. Put on your headphones and listen to a 15-minute track of 936 Hz solfeggio frequencies or theta wave binaural beats. This helps to clear the mental and energetic debris you've accumulated throughout the day, tuning your brainwaves for a state of deep relaxation. Just before bed, engage in the final dialogue of the day with your journal. Write down any synchronicities or intuitive nudges you noticed. Then, write down 3 to 5 things you are genuinely grateful for from your day. This practice trains your mind to see guidance and goodness, shifting your entire orientation toward life. Finally, you enter the mystic realm of the night. Your bedroom should be a cathedral of darkness. Ensure it is pitch black, using blackout curtains and covering any and all sources of artificial light. As you lay in bed, in the profoundest silent darkness, you can set an intention for your dream state. This is a powerful practice. You can ask your subconscious or your higher self for guidance on a specific issue, stating, "Tonight, I ask for a dream that will bring me clarity on my career path," for example. Or you can simply set the intention to become lucid, to wake up within your dream, and to remember your experiences upon waking. You are commissioning your consciousness to continue its work even while your body sleeps. This entire routine may seem like a lot, but the key is not to adopt it all at once. The power is in consistency, not intensity. As James Clear explains in Atomic Habits, small, daily actions compound over time into massive results. Start with just 2 things perhaps, the 15-minute morning meditation and the non-negotiable digital sunset. Master them. Make them an unshakable part of your identity. Then, add another brick, like the gratitude journaling or the daytime mindful moments. Each day, you are laying another brick in the foundation of your own inner temple. This daily devotion is the most powerful act you can perform, the engine that drives your personal and, therefore, our planetary awakening. But even with the most perfect plan and the best intentions, we are human. We face resistance, both from within and without. The ego does not surrender its control quietly. This leads us to a vital question. What are the common pitfalls and spiritual traps that can derail us on this path? And how can we navigate them with wisdom, compassion, and grace? The path of awakening, with its promise of expanded awareness and profound inner peace, is an exhilarating journey. We have laid out a daily routine, a map for navigating this path with intention and consistency. Yet, it is crucial to understand that this is not a simple, linear ascent into the light. The spiritual path is filled with its own unique set of challenges, subtle traps, and seductive mirages that are far more treacherous than any external obstacle. The greatest adversary on this journey is not a force outside of you, but a master of disguise that resides within your own ego. Just as you begin to gain spiritual power, the ego becomes more cunning, learning to twist the very tools of liberation into gilded cages. To walk this path with wisdom, we must learn to recognize these traps, for they can lead us astray into a wilderness of delusion, from which it is very difficult to return. The first and most dangerous of these is the spiritual ego. This is what happens when the ego, whose very survival depends on a sense of separation and specialness, co-opts your spiritual progress for its own agenda. It sees your newfound abilities and experiences not as a sign of your connection to the whole, but as proof of your superiority over others. The spiritual ego speaks in a quiet, confident voice. I am more awake than the people around me. My diet is pure. My meditations are deeper. I can perceive things that they cannot. It begins to judge others for being unconscious or low vibration, creating a new, more insidious form of us versus them. This trap is a complete perversion of the spiritual path. The entire purpose of awakening the third eye is to perceive the fundamental unity of all things. Yet the spiritual ego uses this perception to reinforce its own sense of separation. It is like climbing a mountain only to look down and sneer at those still in the valley. The moment you believe you have become spiritual, you have been ensnared by the ego's most clever costume. Closely related to this is the subtle art of spiritual bypassing. This term, coined by the psychologist John Wellwood, describes the tendency to use spiritual ideas and practices to avoid dealing with painful feelings, unresolved psychological wounds, and the messy realities of being human. It is using the concept, everything is an illusion, to avoid grieving the very real pain of losing a loved one. It is using the phrase, everything happens for a reason, to dismiss the legitimate suffering of another person or yourself. It is meditating for hours a day not to process your anger, but to hide from it, pretending you are above such a low vibration emotion when, in reality, it is simply being repressed, festering in the basement of your psyche. True spirituality is not an escape from our humanity. It is the courage to inhabit our humanity more fully, with consciousness and love. It is about bringing the light of awareness into our darkest corners, not pretending those corners don't exist. Spiritual bypassing builds a beautiful, ornate roof on a house with no foundation. It creates a fragile, performative enlightenment that looks impressive in times of peace, but shatters into a million pieces at the first sign of real-world pressure. Another seductive pitfall is becoming an experienced junkie. As your third eye opens, you will begin to have beautiful, captivating experiences, visions of light, feelings of bliss, profound insights. The trap is to become addicted to these experiences, to make the phenomena the goal itself. The focus shifts from the slow, steady work of integrating wisdom into your character to chasing the next spiritual high. You become a spiritual tourist, collecting exotic experiences like passport stamps, always seeking the next big vision, the next download, the next ecstatic state. But the experiences are not the point. They are signposts, not the destination. They are temporary reminders of our true nature, designed to inspire us and guide us. The real work is what you do when the meditation is over. The true measure of your progress is not the light show behind your closed eyelids, but how you treat the grocery store clerk, how you respond to your partner when you are tired and stressed, how you act when nobody is watching. To chase experiences is to miss the entire point, which is to become a living embodiment of the love and wisdom that those experiences point towards. There is a timeless Zen cautionary tale that perfectly illustrates this. A highly educated scholar, renowned for his knowledge of spiritual texts, came to visit a wise old Zen master. The scholar immediately began to speak, showcasing his vast understanding of philosophy and scripture. The Zen master listened patiently, then offered to serve tea. He began to pour tea into the scholar's cup. He filled it to the brim, but he did not stop pouring. The tea overflowed, spilling onto the table and the floor. "Stop," yelled the scholar. The cup is full. No more will go in. The Zen master smiled and said, "Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" The spiritual ego loves to have a full cup. It loves to be filled with knowledge, concepts, and memories of past experiences. But true wisdom, true presence, requires a perpetually empty cup, a beginner's mind, a state of humble openness, ready to receive the truth of this very moment, not the stale truth of yesterday. The antidote to all these traps is twofold: profound grounding and radical humility. Grounding is the practice of staying deeply connected to your body and to the earth. Wash the dishes with your full attention. Feel the sensation of your feet on the ground as you walk. Engage in physical exercise. Spend time with ordinary people and talk about ordinary things. These are not unspiritual activities. They are essential. They keep your energy system balanced and prevent you from floating away into unintegrated, abstract states of awareness. Humility is the constant recognition that you are a student. Always. It is the ability to laugh at yourself, to admit when you are wrong, to understand that the more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. A simple way to cultivate humility is to orient your path towards service. Shift your primary question from, "What can I get from this?" to "How can this awakening allow me to be of better service to the world?" This focus on giving dissolves the ego's fundamental selfishness. The path of the third eye, if walked by the ego, leads only to a more beautiful and elaborate prison. True awakening is not about decorating the ego with spiritual jewelry, but about the slow, and sometimes painful, process of its complete dissolution. What, then, is the force that can protect us from the cold calculations of the spiritual ego? What is the compass that can guide us through the fog of spiritual bypassing? It is the one intelligence that the ego cannot fake, the one frequency it cannot replicate. It is the intelligence of the heart, for insight without compassion is cold, power without love is tyranny. The visions of the third eye must be interpreted through the wisdom of the heart. The two must work in unison. The head must bow to the heart. And it is this sacred union, this coherence between our mind and our heart, that we must explore next. We have journeyed through the intricate corridors of the mind, learning to purify, activate, and direct the immense power of our pineal gland. We have also navigated the treacherous landscape of the ego, recognizing the subtle traps it lays to sabotage our progress. The ultimate protection against these delusions, we discovered, is a force. The ego cannot replicate the intelligence of the heart. Now, we arrive at the most vital integration of all, the sacred union between our two most powerful centers of perception. For a third eye opened without an open heart can lead to a cold, detached, and ultimately hollow form of enlightenment. True, embodied awakening is only possible when the clear, penetrating insight of the mind is married to the boundless compassion and wisdom of the heart. This is the science and spirit of heart-brain coherence. Imagine your spiritual being as a magnificent vessel designed for cosmic exploration. Your awakened third eye is the sophisticated navigation system, the compass that can perceive the subtle currents of the universe, read the star maps of synchronicity, and aim your intention with laser-like precision. But a compass, no matter how advanced, cannot move the ship. The engine, the power plant that generates the immense energy needed to traverse the vast ocean of consciousness, is your heart. The third eye provides the direction, but the heart provides the drive. An engine without a compass travels aimlessly and risks crashing upon unseen shores. A compass without an engine remains motionless in the harbor, its potential unrealized. The path of mastery lies in firing up the great engine of the heart and syncing it perfectly with the guidance system of the mind. This is not just beautiful poetry. It is a physiological and energetic reality, one that has been rigorously mapped by the pioneering scientists at the HeartMath Institute. Their research has revealed that the human heart is far more than a simple pump. It contains its own complex nervous system and network of over 40 neurons that has been aptly named the heart brain. This brain in your chest can learn, feel, sense, and remember independently of the brain in your head. Even more astonishingly, the heart generates a powerful electromagnetic field that is 60 times greater in amplitude and up to 5,000 times stronger than the electrical field generated by the brain. This field, shaped like a torus or a donut, radiates out from your body for several feet in all directions, constantly broadcasting your emotional state into the environment. When you experience stressful emotions like anger, frustration, or fear, the rhythm of your heart becomes erratic, and the field it projects becomes chaotic and incoherent. But when you consciously cultivate heart-centered emotions like love, gratitude, compassion, and appreciation, your heart rhythm smooths out, and the field it projects becomes a beautiful, orderly, coherent wave. This state is called heart coherence. It is in this state of coherence that the magic happens. The heart sends powerful signals to the cranial brain, synchronizing their activity. This heart-brain coherence shifts you into an optimal state of being, where your immune system is boosted, your stress hormone is decreased, and your cognitive function and intuition are dramatically enhanced. We now understand why the spiritual ego is such a dangerous trap. It is possible, through sheer mental discipline, to activate the third eye while the heart remains closed and incoherent. This creates a cold seer, a person who may have access to profound insights, but lacks the wisdom and compassion to apply them lovingly. They can see the truth of a situation, but they use it as a weapon to judge, to feel superior, to prove others wrong. Their intuition is sharp, but it is untempered by love. This is an incredibly unbalanced and dangerous state. Information without compassion is merely data. Insight without love is a tool for separation. The heart provides the essential context, the loving wisdom that transforms raw information into embodied understanding. The heart ensures that the power of the third eye is used not for the ego's aggrandizement, but for healing, connection, and the benefit of all. So how do we consciously cultivate this state of heart coherence? The methods are simple, profound, and accessible to everyone. The most direct path is through the practice of gratitude, not just a mental list of things you are thankful for, but the act of truly feeling the emotion of gratitude in your body. You can do this right now. Pause for a moment. Bring to mind someone or something you deeply love or appreciate. A person, a pet, a beautiful place in nature. Hold that image in your mind. And now shift your attention from your head down into the center of your chest. Breathe a little deeper and slower than usual. And as you do, genuinely feel the warmth, the expansiveness, the gentle joy of that appreciation in your heart space. This simple act is the fastest way to create coherence in your heart's field. Another powerful practice is loving kindness, or metta, meditation. In this practice, you sit quietly and generate feelings of love and well-wishing. First for yourself, then for a cherished loved one, then for a neutral person, then for a difficult person, and finally, extending that feeling out to encompass all living beings, without exception. This is like taking your heart to the gym, strengthening your compassion muscle and training your entire system to reside in a state of loving coherence. A core heart math technique combines this with breath. You simply place your hand over your heart, Breathe slowly and deeply, and imagine you are breathing in and out directly through your heart center. With each breath, you consciously call up a feeling of gratitude or care, allowing that coherent feeling to ride upon the rhythm of your breath. When you consistently practice these techniques, you are not just creating a pleasant feeling, you are fundamentally altering your energetic broadcast. Remember that the heart's field is thousands of times more powerful than the brain's. This coherent field is the resonant carrier wave for the focused intentions generated by your pineal gland. When your heart is incoherent and chaotic, the signal from your third eye is like trying to broadcast a clear radio station through a hurricane of static. It gets distorted and weakened. But when your heart is in a state of coherent love and gratitude, it creates a powerful, stable, and harmonious carrier wave. The focused laser beam of intention from your pineal gland can then ride upon this wave, amplifying it and broadcasting it into the quantum field with stunning clarity and power. The heart is the ultimate amplifier for your manifestation. The third eye aims the intention, but the heart provides the power that sends it across the universe. The ultimate goal, then, is the sacred marriage between the heavens and the earth within your own being. It is the union of the mind's clarity and the heart's compassion, the sky-like awareness of the third eye and the deep, fertile ground of the heart. This is the true meaning of alignment. It is when your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are all resonating at the same harmonious frequency. This integrated state of heart-brain coherence is the foundation for a truly enlightened life. It protects you from the pitfalls of the ego. It amplifies your power as a conscious creator. And it turns you into a walking, breathing beacon of peace and love. And when this powerful, unified, and coherent state is achieved and stabilized, it does not just transform your waking reality. It begins to unlock the doorways to entirely new realms of experience. Particularly when your conscious mind rests at night, the profound order and potent energy you cultivate during the day become the perfect, stable launchpad for exploring the vast, mysterious, and liberating territories of your inner world through lucid dreaming and beyond. The sacred union of the heart and mind, a state of profound energetic coherence, does not merely transform your waking hours into a more peaceful and intuitive experience. It creates a stable, high-frequency platform from which your consciousness can begin to embark on its most extraordinary adventures. When the clamor of the ego is silenced and the body is infused with the harmonious rhythm of the heart, the doors of perception swing wide open. Especially during the mysterious state of sleep, we now venture into the awe-inspiring territories of lucid dreaming and astral projection, exploring the potential of your consciousness to become a traveler across dimensions. Using your activated pineal gland as the ultimate launchpad. To understand how this is possible, we must revisit the unique biochemistry of the pineal gland. As we know, its primary recognized function is the production of melatonin, the hormone that governs our sleep cycles. A healthy, decalcified pineal gland produces an optimal amount of melatonin, allowing for deep, restorative sleep. It is in these deep states that the magic begins. Many researchers and mystics believe that the pineal gland is also capable of synthesizing endogenous DMT, the spirit molecule. It is theorized that this natural psychedelic is released in trace amounts during the REM sleep cycle, giving our dreams their vivid, immersive, and often bizarre quality. When your pineal gland is highly functional and your energy system is coherent, the quality and intensity of this internal process can be magnified, turning your dream life from a series of foggy, forgotten narratives into a vibrant, high-definition training ground for the soul. The first great frontier in this exploration is the practice of lucid dreaming. A lucid dream is simply a dream in which you become consciously aware that you are dreaming. This single moment of realization is one of the most liberating experiences a human being can have. In an instant, you are transformed from a passive character being tossed about by the chaotic plot of your subconscious mind into the all-powerful director of the movie. The laws of physics no longer apply. You can fly through the air, conjure objects out of thin air, and walk through walls. But the true power of lucid dreaming extends far beyond mere entertainment. It is an unparalleled tool for self-discovery and healing. You can have conversations with dream characters, recognizing them as personified aspects of your own psyche, and ask them directly, "What do you represent?" or "What message do you have for me?" You can face down terrifying nightmare figures and ask them what they need, often transforming them into powerful allies. You can practice real-world skills, from public speaking to athletics, with studies showing that such practice can create new neural pathways, just as effectively as practicing in waking life. Lucid dreaming is not a random gift, but a skill that can be cultivated through consistent practice. The absolute foundation of this practice is keeping a dream journal. You must place a notebook and pen by your bed and immediately upon waking. Before you even move, take a few moments to recall your dreams and write them down in as much detail as possible. This simple act sends a powerful message to your brain. My dreams are important. I want to remember them. The more you do this, the more you will remember. The second core technique is performing reality checks throughout your waking day, every hour or so. Genuinely, ask yourself, "Am I dreaming right now?" and then perform a test. Try to push the fingers of one hand through the palm of the other. Look at a clock or a line of text. Look away, and then look back. In a dream, text and numbers will often be warped, unstable, or completely different the second time you look. By making this a consistent habit during the day, you are programming your mind to perform the same check while you are dreaming. One night, you will look at your hands in a dream and see that you have 7 fingers. Or you will try to push your finger through your palm and it will glide right through. In that moment, the switch will flip and you will become lucid. As you become more adept at navigating the dreamscape, you may begin to encounter an even more profound phenomenon, the out-of-body experience, OBE, or astral projection. While closely related, many explorers distinguish it from lucid dreaming. A lucid dream typically occurs in a world fabricated by your mind. An astral projection is often characterized by the distinct sensation of your consciousness separating from your physical body and finding itself in a perfect, energetic replica of the physical world. You might float up to the ceiling and look down at your own sleeping form in your bed. This separation is often preceded by powerful physical sensations known as the vibrational state. A feeling of intense, full-body vibration, sometimes accompanied by loud buzzing, rushing, or electrical sounds. The story of this phenomenon in the modern West cannot be told without mentioning Robert Monroe. Monroe was not a mystic or a guru. He was a successful, pragmatic American businessman who, in the late 1950s, began having spontaneous and often frightening out-of-body experiences. Being a methodical, curious man, he decided to approach these experiences not with fear, but with a spirit of scientific exploration, as detailed in his classic audiobooks, Journeys Out of the Body and Far Journeys. He began to meticulously document his travels, charting the non-physical territories he explored, which he referred to as different locales. He developed techniques for inducing and controlling these states, eventually founding the Monroe Institute, a research and education organization dedicated to studying human consciousness. His work and the hemisync audio technology he developed have helped thousands of people to have their own experiences demystifying the process and framing it as a natural, albeit extraordinary, potential of the human mind. Whether you are seeking to become lucid in a dream or to project your consciousness, intention and protection are paramount. These are not games. You are preparing to navigate realms beyond the normal confines of the ego. Before you go to sleep, it is vital to set a clear, positive intention. It can be as simple as, my intention is to explore my inner worlds with love, courage, and for my highest good. This acts as your guiding star. It is also wise to practice a simple form of spiritual protection. As you lie in bed, visualize a brilliant sphere of golden white light completely surrounding your body. A shield of loving energy that allows only experiences for your highest good to come through. The greatest obstacle you will face is your own fear. The vibrational state can feel intense, and the experience of sleep paralysis, a temporary inability to move your body that can sometimes precede an OBE, can be frightening. The key is to recognize these sensations not as a threat, but as a sign of transition. The rumbling of the rocket ship's engines just before liftoff. If you can meet these moments with surrender and curiosity instead of panic, you will pass through the gateway. The potential for lucid dreaming and astral projection demonstrates that our consciousness is not confined to our physical brain. These experiences are a natural extension of a highly coherent, awakened state of being. They show us that we are multidimensional beings, capable of exploring vast inner landscapes that are just as real and complex as the outer world. They are the training grounds where we learn to navigate reality without the limitations of a physical body. But as we consider these incredible journeys into non-physical dimensions, a profound question about our own biology arises. What is it about the physical structure of the pineal gland itself that makes it so perfectly suited to act as an antenna for these otherworldly frequencies? The answer may lie not just in its chemistry, but in its surprising, hidden architecture. For scientists have discovered that deep within this tiny gland lies a secret, crystalline palace. Our journey has taken us into the very heart of consciousness, exploring the ethereal realms of dreams and the non-physical frontiers of astral travel. We have treated the pineal gland as a chemical and energetic gateway, a producer of sacred molecules and a receiver of subtle frequencies. But we have, until now, overlooked a piece of evidence so staggering, so profoundly elegant, that it solidifies the gland's role as a divine instrument. For the pineal gland is not just a soft tissue organ. In its quest to dissect and understand, modern science has stumbled upon a secret that the ancient mystics seemed to know all along. Deep within this tiny gland lies a hidden, crystalline structure. It is, quite literally, a biological crystal palace. In the early 2000s, scientists conducting detailed analysis of the human pineal gland made a startling discovery. They found that it contained a collection of tiny, stacked crystals, identified as calcite. These were not random, as amorphous deposits like the calcification we have worked so hard to reverse. These were well-formed, rhombohedral microcrystals, exhibiting a complex, layered structure, almost like a tiny, internal motherboard. This finding was initially baffling to the scientific community. Why would this gland, a producer of hormones, contain a complex crystalline array? The answer may lie in a remarkable property that many crystals, including calcite, are known to possess piezoelectricity. The word piezoelectric literally means electricity resulting from pressure and latent heat. It is the ability of certain materials to generate an internal electrical voltage when subjected to mechanical stress or vibration. It is a two-way street. When you apply an electrical field to these same materials, they physically vibrate. This principle is not esoteric science fiction. It is the basis for countless modern technologies. The quartz crystal in your watch keeps perfect time because a tiny battery sends an electrical pulse to it, causing it to vibrate at a precise, unwavering frequency. The ignition button on your gas grill works because when you press it, a small hammer strikes a piezoelectric crystal, generating a spark that lights the flame. This principle of converting mechanical or vibrational energy into electrical energy, and vice versa, is happening all around us. Now, apply this established scientific principle to the calcite crystals discovered in the geometric center of our brains. This piezoelectric hypothesis opens a breathtaking gateway of understanding. It suggests that the pineal gland is a biological transducer, a sophisticated piece of organic technology designed to convert the unseen frequencies of the universe into usable biological and electrical signals that the brain can interpret. Suddenly, the ancient practices we have explored snap into sharp focus with a new layer of physical meaning. Consider the practice of sound healing, or chanting mantras like Om, or the internal vibration of the bee breath. These are not just creating a good feeling. These audible and inaudible vibrations create a literal, physical pressure wave that travels through the tissues and bones of the skull. When this wave reaches the pineal gland, it causes the piezoelectric calcite crystals to vibrate, and in doing so, to generate an electrical charge. You are, in effect, using sound to power up your own inner technology, jump-starting your spiritual antenna. This crystalline structure also provides a plausible mechanism for how our consciousness interacts with the non-physical quantum field. We discussed earlier, the quantum field is a realm of pure information, of frequency and vibration. The piezoelectric crystals in the pineal gland may act as the perfect receiver for this information. Just as a radio's crystal receiver can be tuned to resonate with specific radio waves, pulling a coherent signal out of the chaotic airwaves, our pineal gland may be designed to resonate with specific informational frequencies from the cosmic field. These could be the frequencies of the collective consciousness, the resonance of archetypal knowledge, or what some traditions call the Akashic records, the universal library of all that has ever been. When our mind, through focused meditation, holds a clear intention or question, it may attune the pineal crystals to a specific frequency. When that frequency is received from the quantum field, the crystals vibrate, generate an electrical signal, and deliver that information to the brain as a sudden insight, a download, or a visionary experience. This understanding sheds brilliant light on the ancient and universal human practice of crystal healing. Why have cultures across the globe, for thousands of years, revered stones like quartz, amethyst, and selenite? Why do people feel a sense of clarity or peace when meditating with them? This may not be a placebo effect, but a direct consequence of sympathetic resonance. A clear quartz crystal, which is famously piezoelectric, has a highly stable and coherent crystalline structure. When you hold such a crystal in your hand or place it on your third eye during meditation, its stable energetic field can interact with your own. It acts like a powerful tuning fork. Its coherent frequency can help to calm the chaotic noise in your personal energy field. More importantly, it may entrain the calcite crystals in your pineal gland, helping them to vibrate at their own optimal, harmonious frequency. You are using an external crystal to tune your internal crystal. You are reminding your biological radio of its clearest, most powerful signal. We can now envision the pineal gland, not just as a gland, but as a complete, self-contained communication system. Its chemical aspect produces melatonin for rest and DMT for visionary states. Its crystalline aspect acts as the sophisticated antenna, the piezoelectric transducer that receives and converts vibrational information into biological signals. These two systems work in perfect harmony. It is a biological radio built of both flesh and crystal, designed to tune into the symphony of the cosmos. This revelation that we carry a sacred, crystalline architecture within us is a profound paradigm shift. It grounds the mystical in the material and elevates the material to the sacred. It validates both the path of the yogi, who uses internal vibration and focus, and the path of the crystal healer, who uses external resonance, showing them to be two different approaches to tuning the same divine instrument. We are not just soft machines of flesh and blood. We are living, breathing, crystalline beings. This profound anatomical truth, this knowledge of an inner eye made of crystal, was not confined to the sterile viewing field of a modern microscope, as we will now see. This sacred knowledge was known, revered, and encoded in the most powerful symbols of art, architecture, and culture throughout human history, hidden in plain sight for all with eyes to see. We have now seen that the gateway to higher consciousness is not a mere philosophical concept, but a biological and crystalline reality within us. We have explored the inner technologies to awaken it and the profound experiences that follow. A truth this fundamental, this central to the human experience, is never confined to a single era or culture. When a discovery about our own nature is this profound, humanity does not forget it. It encodes it, it weaves it into art, embeds it in architecture, and stamps it onto the symbols of its greatest powers. The knowledge of the third eye, the sacred pineal gland, has been hidden in plain sight for millennia. A silent, global conspiracy of wisdom, waiting for those with eyes to see. If you were to listen to this story as a grand audiobook, like a thriller by Dan Brown or a historical investigation by Graham Hancock, this is the chapter where the seemingly disconnected clues snap together, revealing a single, breathtaking picture. Our investigation begins where human civilization found one of its most glorious expressions, ancient Egypt. We have already touched upon the Eye of Horus as an anatomical map of the brain's center, but we must now appreciate its full symbolic weight. This was not a minor hieroglyph. It was one of the most sacred amulets in the Egyptian world, a symbol of royal power, divine protection, and, most importantly, resurrection. This wasn't just about resurrection from physical death, but the resurrection of the spirit into a state of high divine awareness while still living. The Eye of Horus was the symbol of the enlightened human, whose inner eye had been fully awakened. They understood that the power to perceive and interact with the divine was an anatomical and spiritual technology located within the human head. This sacred knowledge was not lost. It was simply translated. Travel from the Egyptian temples to the sun-drenched shores of the Mediterranean. Look at the gods of Greece and Rome, particularly those associated with ecstasy, mystery, and the breaking of mortal bonds. The Greek god Dionysus and his Roman counterpart Bacchus are often depicted carrying a tharsis, a ceremonial staff woven with ivy and topped, most conspicuously, with a pine cone. Look to the mythology of the Egyptian god Osiris, god of the afterlife and rebirth. His staff is also often depicted crowned with a pine cone. Why this recurring symbol? The pine cone is a perfect geometric and etymological representation of the pineal gland. Its spiraling fractals represent the flowering of life and the unfolding of consciousness. It is a symbol of fertility, but not just the fertility of the earth. It is the fertility of the soul, the seed of divine potential that, when nourished, grows into the tree of enlightenment. The most audacious and stunning display of this pinecone symbolism is not found in a pagan temple, but in the very heart of modern Christianity, the Vatican. In a primary courtyard, known as the Cortile della Pigna, or the Court of the Pinecone, stands a colossal, 3-story high, bronze pinecone statue. It is one of the largest such statues in the world. Flanked by Egyptian sphinxes, a silent acknowledgement of the knowledge's origin. Why would the seat of the Catholic Church give such prominence to a symbol so deeply rooted in pagan traditions? The only logical conclusion is that the highest echelons of spiritual power have always retained this esoteric knowledge. They understood that the pinecone represented the pineal gland, the seat of the soul, the direct, internal gateway to experiencing God, while the masses were taught to find God through external ritual and intermediaries. The inner circle preserved the symbol of the most direct path of all, hiding it in plain sight. While the pinecone is a direct representation of the gland itself, other cultures focused on its function as an eye of perception. Journey to the East, to the traditions of Hinduism and Buddhism. Look at any statue or depiction of the Buddha, of Shiva, or of countless other deities and enlightened beings. You will invariably see a dot, a yevo, or a stylized curl of hair placed directly in the center of the forehead. This is the urna, and it is not a decorative flourish. It is an explicit, unambiguous marker for the location of the Ajna chakra, the third eye. It is a symbol that says, this being has awakened the inner eye of wisdom. They see not with the two eyes of the flesh, but with the single eye of the spirit. They perceive reality as it truly is. The urna is a mark of enlightenment, a universal sign of a fully activated and functional pineal gland. This motif of the single, all-seeing eye is not confined to the ancient world. It has been carried forward by esoteric societies and mystery schools, most famously the Freemasons. And through them, it has found its way into the pocket of nearly every American. Take out a $1 bill and look at the back. There you will find the Great Seal of the United States. On the left side is an unfinished pyramid, representing the unfinished work of building a new, more enlightened civilization. Floating above this pyramid, encased in a brilliant triangle of light, is the Eye of Providence, the all-seeing eye. This symbol, with its roots stretching back to the Eye of Horus, represents the divine, awakened consciousness that watches over and guides humanity's spiritual evolution. The inscription below, Novus Ordo Seclorum, does not mean New World Order in a conspiratorial sense, but a new order of the ages. It is a declaration of hope, the vision of the spiritually minded founding fathers for an age where humanity would complete its work, reach the summit of its potential, and live under the guidance of its own collective, enlightened awareness. From the banks of the Nile to the foothills of the Himalayas, from the Vatican City to the Treasury of the United States, the symbols are different, yet the meaning is identical. Can this all be a coincidence? Is it plausible that so many powerful and disconnected cultures independently chose the pinecone and the single eye as their highest symbols of spiritual power by mere chance? The more logical conclusion is that this is not a story of cultural diffusion, but of universal, independent discovery. It suggests that throughout history, awakened individuals from every culture have journeyed inward and discovered the same fundamental truth about human spiritual anatomy. They discovered the third eye, they experienced its power, and they encoded this profound knowledge in the most enduring symbols they could create, leaving a trail of breadcrumbs for future generations to follow. This symbolic tapestry, woven across millennia, is not just a fascinating record of our mystical past. It is a blueprint for our future. It begs the question if this has always been our latent potential. If the wisest among us have always known the path, what does it mean for the next stage of our species' evolution? What does the future human look like, having traced the secret history of the third eye through the symbolic language of our ancestors? We now cast our gaze forward, from the deep past to the distant future, We have seen what humanity has been and what we have known. We now arrive at the most thrilling and speculative question of all. What are we destined to become? For evolution is not a completed event, a finished chapter in a museum. It is a living, breathing process that is happening right now, within us. And for the first time in our history, we have the conscious ability to participate in it, to move beyond the slow, reactive path of Darwinian selection and engage in a proactive, self-directed evolution of consciousness itself, the pineal gland. This master key we have been exploring is the catalyst for this quantum leap, the biological engine that will power our transformation from Homo sapiens to a new kind of human altogether. The name for our species, Homo sapiens, means wise man. This wisdom has been defined by the power of our rational, analytical mind, our ability to reason, to accumulate knowledge, and to manipulate the external world. It is the wisdom of the ego. And it has brought us both technological marvels and the brink of self-destruction. But the future human, the next step on the evolutionary ladder, may be known by a different name, Homo luminous, the light being, or Homo spiritualis, the spiritual human. The defining characteristic of this future human will not be the processing power of their intellect, but the perceptual depth of their consciousness. Their primary mode of knowing will not be logic, but a highly refined, instantaneous intuition. Their primary motivation will not be survival and separation, but compassion and the direct experience of unity. The pineal gland is the organic portal to this new state of being. As more and more individuals undertake the work of decalcifying and activating this inner technology, they are not just improving their own lives, they are forging the neurological and energetic template for the future of our species. What might the latent abilities of this future human look like? The very superpowers that now seem rare and mystical may become as normal and commonplace as sight and hearing are to us today. Consider telepathy. In our current state, we see it as the strange, fictional ability to read minds, but in a being of awakened heart-brain coherence, it may simply be the natural state of communication. When you are deeply attuned to the quantum field that connects all things, and your heart is broadcasting a clear, empathetic signal, you may be able to perceive the emotional and intentional state of another being direct, not as words, but as a holistic knowing. It is a communication of being to being, beyond the clumsy and often deceptive interface of language. Consider precognition, or advanced intuition. For us, a gut feeling is a vague and occasional hunch. For Homo luminous, it could be a constant, clear stream of inner guidance, a direct knowing of the most harmonious path forward. Imagine navigating life with an infallible inner compass, always sensing the flow of right action, avoiding pitfalls not through worry, but through a quiet, confident foresight. The creative process would also be revolutionized. What we now call a rare download or a stroke of genius could become the standard mode of innovation. The future artist, scientist, or engineer might not struggle through trial and error, but instead, attune their consciousness, pose a question to the universal field, and receive the fully formed blueprint, the complete symphony, the elegant equation, directly into their minds. This is the essence of self-directed evolution, unlike the slow, grinding process of natural selection, which adapts a species to external pressures over millions of years. Self-directed evolution is a conscious, internal choice. Every time you choose meditation over distraction, every time you consciously work to decalcify your pineal gland, every time you practice heart coherence instead of reacting with fear, you are casting a vote for this future. You are actively upgrading your own operating system. And as the theory of morphic resonance suggests, Your personal upgrade makes it easier for the entire human collective to do the same. We are not waiting for evolution to happen to us, we are the ones making it happen. The greatest visionary storytellers of our time, the science fiction authors who dream of our future, have often explored this very theme. In his groundbreaking audiobook, Childhood's End, Arthur C. Clarke envisioned a future where humanity reaches the end of its physical, individualistic journey and evolves, merging into a single, vast, non-corporeal group consciousness called the Overmind. While the story is a poignant tragedy of loss, its central concept is a powerful metaphor for spiritual ascension. It imagines humanity transcending the limitations of the ego and the physical body to become a being of pure energy and unified awareness. This convergence of our most imaginative fiction and our most ancient spiritual traditions points to a shared understanding the ultimate destiny of humanity is to transcend the illusion of separation. Of course, there is another potential path for our future, one driven not by inner technology, but by outer technology. As we work to awaken our consciousness, the world of artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and neural interfaces is also evolving at an exponential rate. Humanity stands at a profound crossroads. Will we choose the path of organic, spiritual evolution, activating the divine technology that lies dormant within our own biology? Or will we choose the path of technological augmentation, seeking to transcend our limitations by merging our minds with machines? The path of the third eye is the path of authentic evolution. It is a path that integrates our spiritual power with our heart, our compassion, and our humanity. The alternative, a future of cold, detached, technologically enhanced intelligence, risks creating a being of immense power, but little wisdom. A future that is more machine than human. The vision of Homo Luminous is the breathtaking why behind every step of this journey. It is the promise of a human being who lives in a state of perpetual grace, whose thoughts are creative, whose heart is coherent, and whose actions are guided by a deep and abiding love for all of life. It is the vision of a species that has finally remembered its divine origin and has come home to itself. But this future is not a guarantee. It is not a fixed destination on a timeline that we are passively approaching. It is a fragile, shimmering potential, a single timeline among many, that must be consciously and deliberately chosen, day after day, in the heart and mind of every individual who is willing to do the work. This raises the final, and most important, question. It is one thing to have knowledge of this potential, to see the map of the future. It is another thing entirely to be it. How do we bridge the gap between having a spiritual experience and becoming a spiritual being? How do we take all this knowledge, all these visions, and weave them so completely into the fabric of our character that we permanently embody this higher self in every moment of our lives? We have walked a long and extraordinary road together. We have journeyed from the physical purification of our sacred inner temple to the energetic tuning of our being. We have explored the secret history of our own spiritual anatomy and gazed into the breathtaking potential of our collective future. We have learned how to receive the language of the universe and how to broadcast our own intentions into the quantum field. We have, in essence, been given the complete schematic, the divine instruction manual for the divine being that lies dormant within us. But now, we stand before the final, most crucial, and most challenging gateway of all. It is one thing to have a profound spiritual experience, to glimpse the light of your higher self. It is another thing entirely to become that light. This is the great work of integration, the sacred alchemy that bridges the gap between knowing the path and walking the path, between the vision on the mountaintop and our life in the valley below. The greatest illusion on the spiritual journey is the idea of a finish line. The notion that enlightenment is a final destination you achieve, like a diploma or a trophy. This belief is a subtle trap of the ego, which loves the idea of accumulating spiritual accomplishments. But true awakening is not an achievement. It is an embodiment. It is not something you get. It is something you allow. It is the slow, patient, and sometimes messy process of allowing the qualities of your higher self, its peace, its love, its wisdom, its compassion to permeate every aspect of your personality, every cell of your body, until there is no longer a separation between you and it. The goal is not to have an intermittent connection to your soul, but to become a permanent, walking expression of it. This process of integration does not happen on the meditation cushion alone. The meditation cushion is the training ground, the dojo where you build your spiritual muscle. The real test, the true arena of awakening, is your everyday life. The traffic jam, the difficult conversation with your boss, the crying child, the unexpected bill. These are not interruptions to your spiritual practice. These are your spiritual practice. They are the universe's final exams, designed to see if you can hold your center, not in the perfect stillness of your meditation room, but in the midst of life's beautiful chaos. When you feel a surge of anger or frustration, the old you would react unconsciously. The integrated you sees it as a sacred alarm bell. It is a signal from your soul, lovingly reminding you to come back to your breath, to come back to your heart, to choose a conscious response instead of an unconscious reaction. Each time you succeed, you are literally rewiring your brain and nervous system, carving a new neural pathway of peace, where the old pathway of reactivity once would. This is the art of emotional alchemy. You begin to see your emotions not as good or bad, but simply as energy. You learn to meet all of your feelings with the compassionate light of your own awareness. Instead of repressing your sadness or your fear, you allow yourself to feel it fully, without judgment, breathing into it, holding it as a mother would hold a crying child. In doing so, you discover that the energy of that emotion, once it has been fully seen and honored, transmutes. The energy that was once trapped as fear can be liberated into excitement. The energy of anger, when met with love, can be transformed into a focused passion for creating positive change. You become the master of your inner world, no longer a victim of your own emotional weather patterns. This integration transforms not only your inner world, but how you show up in the outer world. Your communication begins to change. You listen more than you speak. You listen not just to form a reply, but to truly understand the soul speaking to you from behind the words. When you do speak, your words carry the weight of your presence and the coherence of your heart. You find yourself saying what is true and kind, rather than what is merely convenient or designed to impress. The very quality of your presence becomes a healing force. People feel calmer around you. They feel seen and accepted. Often without knowing why, you no longer need to talk about spirituality, because you are being it. You are a living demonstration of peace. There's a beautiful story that perfectly encapsulates this final stage of the journey. A young, eager monk spent years studying scriptures, mastering complex meditation techniques, and seeking out profound visionary states. One day, he heard of a legendary, enlightened master who lived as a simple woodcutter high in the mountains. The monk journeyed for weeks to find him, expecting to discover a man radiating with otherworldly light. He finally found the master, an old man, chopping wood. The monk bowed and said, "Master, I have come to learn your secrets. Please, teach me the ultimate truth of enlightenment." The master paused, leaned on his axe, and said, "When I was unenlightened, I chopped wood and I carried water. now that I am enlightened. I chop wood and I carry water." The young monk was devastated, but as he stayed with the master, he began to see. The master chopped wood with a grace, a presence, a totality that was a moving meditation. He carried water with a sense of reverence and joy that turned a simple chore into a sacred ritual. His enlightenment was not in a dramatic display of power, but in the luminous, loving quality of his attention that he brought to every single, ordinary moment. He had not escaped the world. He had fallen completely in love with it. This is the ultimate secret. The purpose of opening the third eye is not to disconnect from reality, but to connect with it more deeply than you ever thought possible. It is to see the sacred not just in visions, but in the grain of the wood you chop. It is to feel universal love, not just in moments of bliss, but in the act of carrying water for your family. The journey from knowing to being is the journey home to the simple, profound beauty of the present moment. It is a continuous, moment-by-moment choice to embody the peace and wisdom you have discovered within. The journey never truly ends, because life is a constant, creative unfolding, but you no longer seek for something more. You have emptied your cup, and in that emptiness, you have found everything. You have become a clear, open vessel through which the universe itself can experience its own magnificence. You simply chop wood, and you carry water. We have traveled together across the vast inner landscapes of the human potential. A journey that began with a single, tiny, pinecone-shaped gland and expanded outwards to touch the very fabric of the cosmos. We began by clearing the sacred vessel, learning the practical steps to reverse the calcification that has dimmed our inner sight for so long. We then learned to tune our very being, using the vibrational power of sound and the cosmic rhythms of light and darkness to create a state of profound biological coherence. With a purified and resonant system, we turned inward, wielding the master keys of meditation and pranayama to directly engage the gateway of the third eye. We discovered that the universe speaks a subtle language of synchronicity and intuition, and that by learning to listen, we are never truly lost. We explored our power as conscious creators, using our integrated heart and mind to broadcast our intentions into the quantum field. And we have even peered into the future evolution of our species. We have been given the map, but a map is not the territory. If there is one singular truth to take away from our time together, it is this: the power to access higher consciousness, to heal your life, and to co-create your reality is not a gift bestowed from the outside. It is not hidden in a distant temple or an ancient text. It is your biological and spiritual birthright, an innate technology of unimaginable sophistication that lies dormant within your own being. The pineal gland is indeed the key, the stargate to the cosmos that resides within your own mind. But it is the heart, with its immense field of love and compassion, that provides the power and the wisdom to turn that key. The goal of this journey is not to escape the world, but to inhabit it more fully. It is not to simply have fleeting spiritual experiences, but to become the permanent, living embodiment of the wisdom those experiences reveal. The ultimate aim is an unshakable peace that you carry into every moment, a boundless compassion you show to yourself and others, and a quiet joy you discover in the simplicity of an ordinary life, lived with extraordinary presence. The journey ahead is now yours to walk. You are the one you've been waiting for. Begin today. Choose one small practice from our journey and make it your own. Start by simply honoring the darkness and turning off your screens, or by dedicating just 5 minutes each morning to speaking with your own heart. Listen for the whispers of the universe in the meaningful coincidences of your day. Trust the quiet knowing that rises from within. The universe is not just out there to be observed. It is in here, waiting to be awakened. Open your eye. Open your heart. and come home.